Much like your Verizon service today, the phone is being ridiculous. So, welcome everybody to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. And to the upper left corner, we got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, Cottrell.
Damn.
He's sticking with this, eh?
I don't know what to tell you. You lost it. You can earn it back. I don't know how. You maybe tonight. I don't know.
I mean, maybe just one day you'll just kind of feel like I got it back. You know, I know you went on your skid last year. We took away your NFL genius. You were just Gene, and
exactly.
Then just one day it just randomly came back. You know,
one day came back when I got hot.
I don't know if I recall that. It just came back one day. It just magically. It was like the yips were gone.
I do have breaking news tonight.
Okay.
I have inside sources, Gene sources, but we'll get into that shortly. Upper right corner, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shawcross.
What's up, everybody? Just, riding out the blackout like everybody else here.
Not everybody.
Been in and out all day. It hasn't been great, but a little less screen time for everybody. Never hurt anyone.
No, you're definitely right. And the funny thing is, like, the droves of people messaging me being like, what's up with the service? What, you think I know? You think I have the answer to why the towers are out? Like, why are you messaging me? Leave me the fuck alone. All right, I'm going to move it over to Control for Hotwire so I can share this out properly.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, we have a absolutely jam-packed show here. We had some more coaching fires in the NFL. Obviously, we got the national championship to get to in college football, and we have our yearly award show as well. So I tried to keep Hotwire as light as possible for you guys this week. So just a few kind of little pieces of things that kind of happened this week. First things first here. Earlier today, you had Dante Moore, quarterback from Oregon, who was widely considered either the number 1 or number 2 quarterback if he came out in this year's class. Well, he came out today and said he is returning to school for his senior year, foregoing the NFL draft. Gentlemen, how big of news do you ultimately think this is for Dante Moore? How big do you think it is for Oregon in general there? And do you think that this is a mistake going back to school in a class where many argue that he was either the number 1 or number 2 quarterback prospect?
I mean, you got to think that he said, I'm not going to the Jets, bro. I'm not doing this. Like, they're still keeping Aaron Glenn. I am not doing this. I'll roll the dice and try again next. That's exactly what I think he said. Because once you get in that game of, well, you don't want to go to the Jets and other teams start adoring you and treating you like, maybe he doesn't want to play somewhere else, and then he falls. I think Dante Moore's got a chance to go back and win a national championship with Oregon. He's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country next year. He'll have that exposure he needs next year. I think he's a great quarterback. And I think it's a smart move. And with the amount of money you get paid NIL, what's he losing? He doesn't want to go to New York media and get destroyed.
I think a lot of what Gene said definitely came up in conversation and played into his decision. I also think we have to give Dante Moore the benefit of the doubt now, the way he's handled himself the last couple of years. I think he sat down with his people, and I think they had a real, probably honest discussion. And you look at the way he finished the year, especially that last game he put on tape against Indiana. I don't think that's the way you want to end your college career. I think physically, talent-wise, like attributes, I think he has everything in the world and then some to excel at the NFL level one day. I honestly don't think he's ready. I said that kind of in the middle of the year. I wasn't. Everybody's like, oh, he's going. And I wasn't firmly on that boat. I thought he had a lot to prove still. I think him coming back is the right move. I agree with Gene. He's absolutely going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the country next year. It's a way more crowded class with Arch and a couple other people, but he's also going to go back to an Oregon team that's, for lack of a better term, pretty stacked, and they'll be getting a couple guys back they didn't have this year because of injury. They're losing a bunch too, but that's Oregon's kind of in that reload category now. I think they're going to be a very good team, and I think he has a lot of stuff to work on, and I don't think he wanted to go to the Jets. I don't disagree with Gene on that one, but I also think this is another example of a very responsible, mature decision from him and his camp. So I think it's the right move for him and Oregon.
I don't know about
So
that,
we
Ed.
yeah,
I don't know about that.
we have to stop that notion that staying in college for some people is going to be more profitable than going to the NFL. Because the thing is that if he would have been, number one, number two overall pick there, you're looking at $40 million guaranteed. And him going back to school, let's just say on the high end, you're looking at maybe $6 million, like for one season. And of course, I'm sure he has insurances and things like that on him. For me, I think it's kind of twofold here, right? Because part of me thinks, and I said this on Coast to Coast a few weeks ago, and we were having a conversation about Dante Moore. Part of me thinks that him going back to school is the best possible thing for his future and his development as a future NFL quarterback. I think with him going back to school, there are certain things that he's not quite seeing yet, but I think another year of being at Oregon and just in college will help him, especially if you're going to be going to a franchise where they're expecting you to kind of make magic right away. I thought that him coming out now and he still had some stuff to work on with his game, especially if you're going to a team like the Jets or the Raiders and they're essentially just throwing you into the fire. I think that would have been a situation where you kind of just pick up those bad habits, and those bad habits ultimately turn into things that are embedded in you forever. So I thought that going to school was the right decision. But to Bill's point earlier about next year's class being loaded, I think you have the potential with, Arch, Julian Sane, potentially DJ Lagway, potentially Sam Levitt. LSU, got
Norris.
Sam Levitt there, Lenore Sellers. Like, there's so many quarterbacks I think that have the ability to potentially leapfrog him in next year's draft class, to where you're in a situation, it's a big time difference being drafted number one overall versus being drafted 12, 13, 14 overall. Now, of course, he can make that money up by going and having success with whatever team he goes to and get more money on the second contract there. But and it's no secret that, first round picks make a ton of money. But at the same time, like, this could ultimately cost Dante Moore $20 million on his first NFL contract. So I think it's a huge gamble. Ultimately, I'm hoping that this is the right decision for him. I think it's right for his development. But it's definitely one of those ones where I think it's more than just not wanting to go to the Jets, because it's $20 million or more is potentially a huge chunk of money.
So I'll say this. So wow, a couple comments just went through. And he will make more money. So the only way he makes more money by going back to school is if he's drafted in the same scenario and he excels. If he is drafted 12, 13, 14, he won't make more money versus 2 this year, the way the contract is structured in the NFL for your first round picks. That's not what I don't care about that. The part I care about is the situation. If the Jets fired their head coach and developed, had GM, head coach, married the coach to the quarterback, offensive-minded coach, I could see Dante Moore coming out. I really could. And I know that's not the end-all, be-all. But I'll say this. I can't wait for the quarterback. Like, guys, the number one, selling rookie trading card right now is Jackson Dart. If you go to New York and you're successful, I'm telling you, it matters so much. And, you can make so much more money in that scenario. I just think the Jets are run awful. That's number one. The second part, Dante Moore is going to make good money, and he'll be fine. He'll be set. I don't think there'll be an issue regardless. I think him developing in the right situation rather than going and get the shit kicked out of him in the wrong situation. Look how many quarterbacks went through New York and almost got basically out of the league. Zach Wilson's all but done. Sam Darnold revitalized his entire career. Aaron Rodgers, you see, he had an MVP year, then goes to New York. He was terrible for 2 years. Then goes to Pittsburgh. He's back in the playoffs. The New York Jets are a terrible ground for quarterbacks. I don't know if they take 1 or 2. They might sign a veteran, because I think this is a 2 quarterback class. I don't think Ty Simpson's on these guys' level.
Yeah, not anymore. They don't take 1 at 2. I definitely think, there's no way that if Dante Moore came out, and obviously, Mendoza's coming out, that they weren't going to go 1-2, whatever order. It was fine, but regardless, those are going to be your first 2 picks, especially because this class is as weak as it is at quarterback. So I'm with you, Gene. I agree that New York market is big time there and definitely can help you make more money there. But yeah, I just think this is such a gamble, and I'm hoping it pays off for him because I think ultimately in my heart of hearts, I think this is the right move.
All right, let's move forward. We got a lot of action-packed show.
All right, so second thing we got here, the Arizona Diamondbacks have traded for Nolan Arenado. Obviously, last year Diamondbacks had Eugenio Suarez, got him traded. Arenado is brought in to essentially kind of pick up that hole that was left there at third base. What are your thoughts on this trade here? I know Arenado necessarily hasn't performed to, what we've been used to him performing as a perennial Gold Glove winner there. But what are your thoughts to this trade here? And do you think Arenado adds some value to this Diamondbacks team?
Yeah, Bill. Man. Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's been one of my favorite players for a long time. But he's on the back end. He's his hands are getting a little bit slower. His numbers have gone down. The biggest concern for me was last year. Last year was the first year that you could visibly kind of see that he lost a step in the field, which is something he's always hung his hat on. He's one of the best defensive third basemen to ever play baseball. I still think it's an upgrade, probably who they were going to put over there this year. But this is not 2015 or sorry, 2017 through 2020 Nolan Arenado. That's not what you're getting. His average has gone down, I believe, 3 straight years. I'd have to look, but I just know strikeouts have gone up, OBP, OPS, power numbers have gone down. I know St. Louis hasn't been great, but
he was worse the last 3 years.
What?
And he's one of the best defensive players in the league.
He is not what he used to be. And again, I'm not saying it's not an upgrade. It's a hole they have to fill. Arizona's kind of going back and forth what they're going to do. They apparently had Ketel Marte on the trade market down in the winter meetings for a while and took him off. Listen, I mean, he'll make them better. There's no doubt about it. You're just not getting MVP Arenado anymore. That's not what you're getting. If this trade happened 8 years ago, this would be an enormous deal. It's just not as big a deal as it was because, like I said, he's on his back. He's on the back half for sure.
So, Bill, I looked it up, and I'll just go right real quick to this. He had a 7.9 WAR in 2022. That was his high mark. 2.4, 2.5, 1.3 the last 3 years. 266 batting average, 272, 237 the last 3 years. And then the power numbers are even worse. 5 years ago, he had 34 home runs. He used to hit 40. He hit 43 times in his career. That was in Colorado. But 5 years ago, he had 34 home runs, then 30, then 26, then 16. Last year, 12. He's not the same guy. It's not. That's why I was like, this isn't really news. It's like he's like a journeyman. I know he's Nolan Arenado's not a journeyman, but the point being is he stinks now. Like I don't know if I take him over Alec Bohm. I hate Alec Bohm.
I guess my question more so being too with that is because I remember like last year we were having conversation about Arenado, and obviously he's always a name that's brought up on the show when we do our third baseman list and things like that. It felt like the relationship between him and St. Louis was really starting to, reach that boiling point. So do you think it's possible that him going to Arizona, changing scenery will ultimately help him? I know baseball is different in the sense of like your glove just doesn't magically get back to where it was at, just by being in a new place or things like that. But do you think the change of scenery can, bring him somewhat back to what he used to be? Maybe not, full Gold Glove all-star kind of guy, but better than what we saw at least the last couple years with him.
Can I ask you a question? When have you seen a player in their 14th year revitalize their career? I don't mean to be that guy, but like, bro, he's 35. Like, it's not like he might not be 35, but
34, I think.
34.
Yeah, I think he is 34. I think
35 this year.
Yeah.
But like opening day, the guy will be 35. So that was pretty good spot on guess. But no, you don't revitalize your career and you're 35.
The biggest thing with him is, and again, it's not, like defensively, like it's not his hands, it's not his glove, it's the other stuff. It's the reaction time being 1/10 slower, which makes all the difference in the world. It's his legs not getting him to the spot that he needs to get to in time. It's all the little things like that. You talk about it with all baseball players. To Gene's point, as you get older, your hands get slower. And again, a half of a tenth is the difference between hitting a home run and missing the ball completely. So it's all the stuff like that. When you get older, you see it too. Guys, they start guessing more and they just sell out more because they don't have the reaction time in their hands to adjust like they did when they were younger. Baseball is just very unforgiving that way. And again, he is what he is. Again, you're 35. And Gene said what, 4? So he's been in the major league since he was 21. He's got a lot of miles on the tire too. He's not a guy that plays 100 games a year. He's out there all the time. So he's just getting older. It just sucks. It happens to the best of them. To Gene's point, you don't if guys aren't cheating, you don't see people you don't see people's numbers start shooting through the roof when they're 35. It's human nature. It's father time. Undefeated, gets everybody.
Defensive runs saved is a stat that we talk about a lot on the show. In 2020, this guy had 37 defensive runs saved. 20, 11, 14, 10, 20, 21. The last 3 years, 0, 6, and 8.
There you go. And again, when he retires and he goes in the Hall of Fame, first ballot, which he probably will, he is no doubt about it, a top 10 third baseman of all time. The guy is absolutely one of the GOATs. He's just not in his prime anymore. It's just the way it is.
Let's move to another guy that's not in his prime anymore.
All right, now this one's a little appetizer because we're going to talk about him a little bit more later on in the show. But news came out that Anthony Davis was likely to undergo surgery to repair ligament damage in his left hand. Now that has since been updated, and now he will no longer be getting surgery on his hand, but he will not be reevaluated to play basketball again for another 6 weeks. Now, I wanted to bring this up, one, because, like I said, we're going to be talking about AD later on in the show, but two, with the news surrounding AD and people wanting to, or essentially Dallas wanting to get him traded before the trade deadline next month. At this point in time in Anthony Davis's career, do you think he can help a team, a playoff team, close the gap in terms of winning a championship?
Yes. I don't want to lie and say he can't. If a healthy Anthony Davis walks into a lot of playoff teams' locker rooms, he can help them win a championship. The problem is he has to be healthy. And I don't care if you get him for 5 games in a 7-game series, even if you have to do like load management for him in the playoffs, you could probably win a couple more series with Anthony Davis versus without. He's a force when he's there. I don't think we're going to get a healthy Anthony Davis. There's a reason he got the moniker street clothes, because he's in them more often than he is in normal clothes.
Anthony Davis.
Glass, man. Guy's made of glass. Yeah, I mean, it's to Gene's point, though. I think if he goes to the right team that needs that extra little push, not like a huge push, yeah, he can help someone win a chip. Because when he is on the court, he's healthy. He's very good. But at any given time, you don't know when that is. Like, we laugh about his nicknames or like even the load management thing in the playoffs. It's probably a realistic option. Like if you got up 2-0 on somebody on the road, I would sit him game 3.
Yeah,
it's the reality. If you look at the amount of games missed that guy's had in his career, it's staggering.
I'm curious too, and we can move on here shortly. But ultimately, though, I'm curious to see what teams come out and try and make a push for him. couple teams that I've been seeing or that I could also see making sense. One of them being the Atlanta Hawks with what they're trying to do. Like they feel like they missed on their first overall pick in Ricochet, and maybe bringing in Anthony Davis. You feel like that will circumvent that, especially if you can get him for a season or two. But also thinking about the Detroit Pistons. And I know they have a really young core there, but if they're a team that's serious about winning now, I think you give Cade at that point a true running mate, and I think that could be a move that makes a ton of sense there as well.
Maybe we can put him in, and like him and Embiid could be like tag team partners. Like what game one Embiid plays, game two Anthony Davis.
It's a great idea.
Not really going to happen. I'm kidding. The money would not work. It's just a joke. But I would find that very humorous.
It could work.
You got Trey Paul George.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right, gents. Well, that's it for Hot Wire.
No.
Like I said, we want to keep it light this week because I know we got a lot to go into, and we got a heavy NFL slate. So, Gene, I will let you lead the way, my friend.
NFL playoff this weekend was incredible. It was incredible. I loved every minute of Saturday football. Both games were down to the wire. They were both great football games to watch. The 1:00 game was incredible, and we'll talk about the games, each one. Even the 8:00 game, even though the Patriots, we'll talk about what if Justin Herbert a little bit later. And then the Texans dominated on Monday Night Football, making both of your guys' Super Bowl predictions look really good. I gotta start with the Philadelphia Eagles situation. They were defending Super Bowl champions, and they played, in my eyes, the easiest team that was in the playoffs to play. And guess what? The team got easier. They got easier, Bill. In the first quarter, George Kittle popped his Achilles.
It's unfortunate.
100% unfortunate for George Kittle, for the 49ers, whatever. The point being is they played Juwan Jennings and Christian McCaffrey, who's absolutely injured, and they couldn't pull away from the 49ers to the point where they ended up losing the football game. Now, if you're not going to win the Super Bowl, look, I was very pissed off, frustrated. A lot of, I guess, anger in my body after that game. But I took 30 minutes, and in 30 minutes, I was okay. Because I reminded myself this. If the Eagles aren't going to win the Super Bowl, what would be the best outcome I can root for? Well, I can root for change. And you're not going to get change if you lose in a close game in the NFC Championship game. You won't get change if you go to the Super Bowl and lose. You get changed by getting embarrassed by an injured team at home and your offense looks anemic. You get changed if you have an A.J. Brown who's constantly cries for the football, drop 3 passes, and get an argument match with his biggest defender in the city, Nick Sirianni, on the sideline. You get changed when Kevin Petullo gets fired. Change is what's needed in Philadelphia. If I'm Howie Roseman, the conversation I had with Nick Sirianni is simple. You're not picking your offensive coordinator ever again. We're not promoting from within. And I don't care if we get a guy that's a lifer or a guy that's a 1-year guy and Jalen's got to find another new offense coordinator in 2 years from now, because if that 1-year guy gets me to the Super Bowl, I'm fine with it. A la Steichen, a la Kellen Moore. But when you promote from within, it has been an absolute mess. Petullo, Brian Johnson. I don't know how the Philadelphia Eagles on 4th and 11 ran 4 verticals into cover 4 defense. I just want to be clear. If you zoom in and see Jalen Hurts' face when Petulo gives him the play, it's what? Really? Yeah, we're going to run it again. Because what the Niners ran on third down was cover 2. So the thought process was if they run cover 2 again, 4 verts would work because you'd space the safety. But on 4th and 11, Robert Saleh's not going to run cover 2. That's not what you run on 4th and 11. It's embarrassing, but in that same time, when you want change, you need embarrassing things to happen. And the last thing I'll say before we get in, I don't mind if we get a spirit debate tonight. I'm fine with it. But the last thing I'll say is June 2nd, a trade has been announced from the Philadelphia Eagles to whoever. A.J. Brown traded for a bag of balls. $16 million cap hit, call it a day. I don't want that dude on my team ever again. And if you don't know, and that's okay if you don't know, you don't watch the All-22, if you don't watch replays of the game, if you don't break down the film, I'm fine with you not knowing. But that man's effort, blocking in the run game, going after footballs, alligator arming a big pass, dropping a pass over the middle, that man's effort is what I have the problem with. Smitty dropped the ball on 3rd and 11. It was a hard ball, but it was catchable. He's not getting crushed in Philadelphia. We crush people for effort. And A.J. Brown did not put forth effort. And there's plenty of plays. All you got to do is go on Twitter. Type in A.J. Brown. The film studies all over. People are crushing him. Like run plays where Saquon Barkley probably could have took it to the house and A.J. Brown half-assed his block. I can't take that. So get rid of Petulo. Get rid of A.J. Brown and fix the culture inside the locker room. And Mekhi Becton will be back next year, all but guaranteed. All but guaranteed. Mekhi Becton will come back and sign a sweetheart deal with us. He's going to be a cap casualty of the Chargers. They've already all but said it. I need an offensive coordinator. And by the way, don't take this the wrong way. I don't know why. Hold on 1 second. Greg Roman would not be a bad name here in Philadelphia. He wouldn't. I mean, McDaniel and Daboll, all those guys would be awesome if they don't get head coaching jobs. But if you hear Greg Roman, a lifer offensive coordinator who's worked with Kaepernick and worked with Lamar unanimous MVP under Greg Roman, Kaepernick worked with him for years. He has ability to work with quarterbacks, and he's not going to be a head coach. I wouldn't mind it. I'm done with the Eagles. Gally, I would love your opinion.
I don't want Greg Roman. I'll start there.
Fair. You don't have to want him. It's okay. It'd be better than this year.
I don't disagree with that, but I mean, to your other point with Daboll and guys like that out there, if they're not going to sit the cycle out and they want jobs, they're light years ahead of Roman.
Yeah, I said it. They don't get a head coaching job.
The AJ stuff, I'm not. Listen, there's standing up for certain things, but to your point, the effort thing is not something I would give anybody a break for, and that includes AJ. I don't know. I think the last drop was the one that I think annoyed me the most. Because to your point, I don't. It was kind of alligator arm. It's a ball he has to catch. If to your point, if you want to be the guy and blah 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 blah. I thought the other two were tough, but that ball has to be caught if you're wide receiver one. Just the absolute vanilla, predictable, just awful offense. I'm glad they fired him quickly and just were over and done with it. It's hard to watch. I thought the defense picked a really bad game to not play well. 'Cause, I mean, other than touchdown the first half, I think Quinyon Mitchell played his ass off. I think everybody else is pretty average. I don't know how you just decide to stop covering Christian McCaffrey in the second half. And I don't know how we address certain things with the offense. There's still things that need to be fixed outside of AJ. We have a quarterback that's scared to death to throw the ball over the middle. That has to change. It's Robert Saleh. I don't know what he watched, but he figured it out. You look at his game chart. He doesn't have a pass completed between the hash marks. Everything's to the outside.
He did the same thing when he was the head coach of the Jets, Bill. The same thing.
That's what I'm saying. So that's something Jalen's got to work on, and I'm not putting the game on Jalen or anything like that. But it's a glaring weakness in his game, and it's going to be something that more and more people are going to catch on to. But yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, this is definitely, I think, it's hard because you've had the success of winning the Super Bowl and kind of, looking in the rearview mirror. It's like, we'll be 2 years away removed from winning one. How much are we going to change? How much are we going to blow up? But at the same point, I don't think Howie or anybody else can honestly look anybody in the face at this point and just say, yeah, we're going to run it back. Like something's going to have to change. So, Howie's earned the right to have my trust and everything else. So, I mean, we'll see what he does. I'm sure he'll be active. I'm sure he's got a list of things he wants to do already. They'll get a better draft pick now, I guess, which is a little bit of a consolation prize, but we'll see what happens. It's really disheartening end of the season, I think, to just go out with a thud like that.
Cottrell, I want to ask you a question because I have a game plan. I have a game plan for the Eagles this offseason.
Okay.
It's a real game plan. So I just want to, I'm not trying to be like rude or weird when I say this. It's a real game plan. So if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and this is your game plan, I want you to tell me how it sounds to you. I'm trading A.J. Brown for the best draft capital I can get on June 1st. I'm re-signing Mekhi Becton on a sweetheart deal to play right guard. I'm in my draft. I'm drafting Kenyon Sadiq in the first round, pick 23, to play tight end because you're losing Dallas Goedert. He's going to be your Goddard replacement. In the second round, I'm drafting a right tackle to take the place of Lane Johnson when Lane Johnson retires probably after next year. And I'm not making any other changes. I'm going to try to get the Kobe Dean back for cheap. I'm going to try to get Reed Blankenship back for cheap. But if I don't, I'm not losing my mind on those situations. What I'm addressing is wide receiver 1, which I would go out in the free agent market and try to get Juwan Jennings to play next to Devontae Smith, and that would be my wide receiver pairing. And I would 100% get Kenyon Sadiq to play tight end and replace Dallas Goedert, and Mekhi Becton back at right guard. I would love to hear my offseason plan to you.
I mean, I
realistic
think
one too, under the salary cap. I did that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it like on paper makes a lot of sense there. I mean, I think Sadiq is obviously a great weapon. I think he's going to be special. Him at 23, I'd be surprised if he made it that long. But like, if you guys can get him, then I mean, I think that'd be a great weapon, especially if you're losing a guy like AJ. I guess the one like question mark that I would have though is, and I know you still have Saquon, you still have a great offensive line, but I do think teams would view you guys a lot differently without AJ being there, because regardless of what he's been doing on the field and regardless of him not getting the ball and regardless of all of the commotion that he causes, off the field, when he's on the field, you get the single coverage looks to Schmitty. You get, things underneath that open up for him and for other players as well. So I'm curious to see if, you go the route of Juwan Jennings. Well, I think Juwan Jennings is a really good player. Do teams ultimately play you guys like a ton differently? And is the roster that you just put together still enough to get that team over the hump, or is it, we're not necessarily, of course, you're always looking to go and win a Super Bowl, but is it the expectation of, all right, if we have like one down year, but we progress, and then the following year and the following few years after that is really when we get back to, that powerhouse of what we were. If that's the goal, I mean, I think you're in good shape there. But regardless of how you feel about AJ, I think losing him changes completely the dynamic of that Eagles offense.
I don't disagree with you, but I think I think they have plenty of playmakers on that offense. And I think that with the offensive coordinator that comes in that schemes players open, albeit a step back with Juwan Jennings from AJ Brown, I get that. I use him as an example of a guy that you can get for
Right.
a little bit more than what he's making now over in San Francisco. And you pay him and you bring him in. He makes some money. You got Devontae Smith, who most people believe can be a number one receiver. And then you get Kenyon Sadiq. You also have Saquon. You want to rebolster that offensive line. I think the Eagles are in fine position to get rid of what I would call cancer in the locker room.
So and I'll say this, and I don't think it's necessarily fully apples to apples, but what it reminds me of is when the Pittsburgh Steelers had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell and Juju had the crazy seasons, and it was like, all right, well, AB's disgruntled, we're going to get him out of here. And then you saw what that Steelers offense looked like when Juju became that number one, and the Steelers still had a really good offensive line at that point. Again, it's not necessarily apples to apples, but like I just look at that situation and say things can go south really quickly in that situation. And I think Smitty's a lot better than Juju. Like I always thought Juju was a fraud for what it's worth there. But like I just look at that situation in general and I see that could be like the far left side of things there. And granted, it could very well go all the way right. And maybe you guys don't, you go get Sadiq, but maybe you can get a better receiver, trade for a better receiver. I mean, Howie's always working the phones there as well. So I just think it'd be a lot of question marks though for you guys. And it's just kind of crazy because last year at the end of the year, we were kind of thinking that with the amount of money that you guys were spending and all the talent that was on the team, still being under the salary cap, you had all your picks, like everything looked so good. And we thought the Super Bowl window was wide open. And I still think it is. It's open for you guys for sure. But I just think now there's a ton of question marks and, there's very little room for error as far as turning over the roster and replacing guys who are such pivotal pieces to what the Eagles want to do.
I'll tell you another guy that you can go out and get in the draft, probably second round, is Omar Cooper. Just watch him play from Indiana. Kid's a very good wide receiver. You can draft him. I get it. I'm done. We got to go other teams. I am very, very clear that I don't want AJ Brown here. I think he's cancerous to the team. I think he's a terrible locker room guy. I think he's terrible on the sidelines. He's an incredible talent. The juice is no longer worth the squeeze, in my opinion. Everybody has an opinion, right? My opinion is I don't want him here. And now, was Jalen Hurts good? Absolutely not. Was he good in the game? Does he have to be better? Absolutely. But I don't think one or the other have to do with each other. I don't think those two things are sequential. I think that AJ Brown is a problem, and he's going to be a problem anywhere he goes.
It's just crazy to me, and I know we got to move here. It's just crazy to me though because how fast things change, right? Because you were so far off of the AJ Brown train, and then I forgot what week it was, but a week happened, and you said it feels like the issue is fixed. Whatever happened between Jalen and AJ, it's fixed. And we hadn't really talked about AJ. I mean, of course, at times when he had drops or things like that, we kind of would bring it up, but it wasn't nearly much as we talked about him in the first half of the year. And then, last week we talked about it and, you thought they were going to the Super Bowl and Bill picked them to win the Super Bowl. And now it's, want AJ Brown off the team. And I understand why. Like that, don't get me wrong. Like I fully understand why, but it's just crazy how much like the landscape of things change, from week to week in the NFL.
Well, two things can be true, right? AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, I think, fixed their turmoil by sitting down with Jeffrey Lurie, Big Dom, whatever that situation was. I think that's fixed. I still think that's fixed. I don't think there's a problem. But then what ends up happening, he gets in a shouting match with the head coach and calls him a bitch on a hot mic. Like, it's not just Jalen. It's everything. It's always AJ. That's the problem I have. Do I think Nick carries himself the best on the sideline? Absolutely not. Do I think he'd be part of the problem? Absolutely. But I will tell you this, his biggest defender, his biggest advocate since he's been here has been Nick Sirianni. There's no doubt about that. Want to move on to the playoff games. The Rams survived the Carolina Panthers Saturday afternoon. Matter of fact, there was one, no doubt about it, MVP of that football game. And it was Puka Nacua. I'm gonna give you the exact play.
Yep, breaking up
him breaking up that interception. Game's over.
Yep.
It's over. Game is over. Matthew Stafford threw a game-losing interception. That's the second time in a Matthew Stafford playoff run he's thrown a game-losing interception that was dropped or broken up. You guys remember the San Francisco one, right? NFC Championship game. But the point being is this: Puka Nacua. Is it time that we start asking ourselves if Puka Nacua is in the same category as Jamar and Justin?
Absolutely.
Is it time to start saying that?
Puka and Jason are 100% in that category. Absolutely.
That's kind of where I'm at. Shai, what do you think about the Rams, Panthers, the game? Great football game.
Well, it's a great game. I think I said it in chat. I felt like when Carolina went down and scored, they left too much time on the clock, and it's almost just like you could see Matthew Stafford and that offense going down the field to do it. It was almost too predictable. One busted coverage. I think somebody was supposed to follow Puka to the middle. He didn't. They had that big gap chunk play right off the bat for like 30 yards. And then you just kind of knew it was coming at that point. But great game. I think Carolina, kind of finished the season kind of hot, and we'll see where they go next year. I know they already exercised their 5th-year option on Bryce. I think he's coming pretty far away, from where he was his rookie year, and kind of being stuck in a couple bad situations to, kind of looks like an NFL quarterback now. Last drive wasn't good, but other than that, I thought he played a pretty good game. And it was just one of a bunch of just really exciting, really good football games. And that's what you want.
Again, I think this is similar to the Eagles. Obviously, much different here, but it's crazy how fast the NFL landscape can change, because literally just a season and a half ago, we were talking about when Bryce Young got benched and Andy Dalton took over as the starter. And we were like, is Bryce Young's career basically over? Where like, is he going to be like a backup moving forward here? And was he a bust? Obviously CJ Stroud went right after him. Like, was he the best quarterback there? And now we're talking about Bryce Young in the light, going toe to toe with, MVP frontrunner Matthew Stafford in the playoffs in a game that a lot of people argue that they really should have won. I think it's an incredible, journey for him. But as a whole, like, even being 8-9, even backing into the playoffs, if you're that Carolina Panthers team, you have to be excited about what your future can look like, because Bryce Young absolutely showed that he can be a franchise quarterback for you. I thought this game was absolutely incredible. If you're the Rams, you need to be happy that you survived and advanced there, but that's ultimately what it's all about. If you're the Rams, you knew that you lost the first time you saw these guys in the regular season, and we talk about all the time on the show as well. Styles make fights, and for whatever reason, the Panthers have the Rams numbers there, but I still think that Rams team is good enough to go to the Super Bowl, potentially win a Super Bowl. But of course, they clearly have things that they need to clean up there. But I was very surprised to see that game be as close as it was, especially with, Bryce Young looking as impressive as he did in his playoff debut.
Cottrell, I'll end here. I felt like the first 3 playoff games, all 3 quarterbacks all had the opportunity to win the football game, and they all have that if in front of their name. Now, I don't say they're in the same category, right? I think Bryce is a little bit below what Trevor and Jordan are.
Mhm.
But if you look at these first 3 playoff games, and look, Brett, I hope you're in the chat. I really would love your feedback. I seen your TikTok. I thought it was very good. Thought it was very well written. But we go to that second game. The Packers are up 21-3 at the half. 21-6. They were dominating that football game. They finished losing 31-27. It was 21-3. So if we're going to give Justin Herbert all that crap for losing 34-31 to Jacksonville or 30-27, whatever the hell that game was, when he was up 27-3 at the half, we got to give that same thing to Jordan Love. They didn't score a touchdown in the second half. I don't care how good he looked. I don't care how many good passes he made. He made a lot of good passes. He had receivers drop footballs. Absolutely. Chicago had the same thing. Chicago was also beaten, bruised, and hobbled. And if there's a team that's hurting as much as the San Francisco 49ers, it's the Chicago Bears. They're hurting. TJ Edwards now out for the year. But 25 fourth quarter points, and Jeff Hafley is getting head coaching interviews. Explain to me how. The Bears found a way. The Packers found a way to lose.
They did, but I mean, if you look at it though, that's been the story of this season for the Bears and Packers matchup. Like literally, think back to how these games went in the regular season. The first time they played each other, they were down big in the fourth quarter there, and the Bears were driving to score the tying touchdown at the end, and Caleb threw that interception on fourth and 1 in the end zone in that game. And then the following game, they were up. I want to say it was 16-0. And the Bears come down and, they get the onside kick. And, ultimately the game goes to overtime and they find a way to win that football game there as well. And then we see how this game ultimately goes. And we see that Bears team take over in the fourth quarter and, get the win ultimately. I saw a crazy stat that said in the Bears and Packers matchup, all 3 matchups throughout the regular season, the Bears never held the lead with time remaining in the game in any of those 3 games, and they are 2-1 against the Packers this season. Like that is absolutely damning if you are, a Packers coach, Packers fan, a player of that Packers team, because that's basically saying you're letting these games get away from you. So give a ton of credit for Chicago for being resilient. Give a ton of credit to Caleb for, just fighting, through all the adversity there within that football game there. But you have to, if you're the Packers, you have to be looking yourself in the mirror saying that we let this football game get away from us because there's absolutely no reason why they didn't win the game.
Chicago definitely led a couple times. They led 3-0, and then they led
in the fourth quarter. That's what I said, in the fourth quarter.
They led in the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown. The last drive of the game was the Packers losing the game.
Correct. Yeah. So it didn't lead till the fourth quarter.
Oh, lead going into the fourth quarter.
Correct.
Okay. I thought you said didn't lead the game at all. But they were leading 3-0 in the first quarter, and then they didn't.
Did not know they were.
Yeah, that's all. I was just making sure. Shall, anything you want to add for Packers Bears?
No, I mean, I think the second half was really just like weird, like kind of almost like reverse Kyle Shanahan play calling. Like, I know Jordan Love had that crazy first half, 4 touchdown passes, whatever, but you had Josh Jacobs there that I think had 11 carries for 50-some yards in the first half, and he touched the ball twice in the second half. They stopped running the ball, and then they just came out like they were just going to run and gun and do whatever, and those 3 and outs started to add up real quick. And you just can't give up 25 fourth quarter points in a playoff game. I don't care what the excuse is. Chicago is definitely that team that can look absolutely awful, and they kind of have the ability to flip that switch and go crazy the last 10, 12 minutes of a game. But that is absolutely playing with fire. I don't think Robert Saleh is going to let him do that. But we'll see what happens. Like you said, it's gonna be a battle of wounded knee when these two teams play this weekend because they are both coming in.
San Fran played Seattle. I think the Rams.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
The Rams play the Bears, and I think that if the Rams are up 27 points, just like Time said, I don't think that they're going to stop running. I think they'll be running the football. The one thing I looked at, I just double checked it. Chow, I want to read this to you. Okay, 21-3. 21-3. Punt, -2 yards, 3 plays. Punt, 3 and out. 5 plays, 13 yards, punt. 3 plays, -10 yards, punt. That can't happen.
No.
It can't happen. Second half. That's their opening 4 possessions. Now, I do want to give Brett the time, and I read this out loud. My problem with Herbert is the follow-up more than the Jags game itself. The next 2 playoff games, he was a disaster. While Love has a lot of good quarters of playoff football at the – I get it. McManus left 7 on the board. Now, let's be very clear. Kicking the ball in Chicago in January is not like a gimme, but let's be clear there. And the drops, as you mentioned, defense just imploded. Matt LaFleur called a bad game in the second half. So here's the thing, Brett. We can't say when Jordan Love looks really good, it's Jordan Love. And when Jordan Love doesn't look good or the offense looks stagnant, it's Matt LaFleur called a bad game. Like, you got to be consistent on those things. I think LaFleur should have ran the football more, absolutely. But if we're being fair, that second half offense was punt, 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 punt. It's a problem. Seahawks played a 49ers, yes. We'll get into that preview. Jaguars, Buffalo Bills. Another what if. And guys, I think I said this in the chat to you guys. You guys might get it, might not. There was a clear MVP of that football game, and his name wasn't Josh Allen. A clear MVP. And I think I'm the only one in the entire planet talking about this. I don't think any talk show talking about how good this one player was in this football game. And I know Cottrell knows who it is. Cottrell, who am I talking about?
Tre'Davious White.
My guy, Tre'Davious White, he was like the Undertaker, man. He risen from the dead. He was done. Injuries. Went to another location. Came back to Buffalo. Injuries. Tre'Davious White made 3 absolutely unbelievable plays that were decision-making plays in that football game. But the play that stands out to me the most, let me see if I can find it, is the play that I love everything about it. Like, listen, he had the game-ending tip that led to an interception, but Tre'Davious White made a play that I don't think people understand how good this is, but let me just check. Let me just pull it up. Let me see if I can find it. Control, what are your thoughts on the game while I pull this up?
I mean, for me, it was definitely an interesting game there. I felt like Trevor Lawrence played well enough to win. Obviously, the first interception was tipped at the line. But outside of that, though, I mean, I thought a lot of what the Jags did was important. I thought the Jags defense did a really good job of trying to contain that Buffalo offense, and they were doing a good job of getting hits on Josh Allen. And, nothing necessarily dirty or anything like that. But if Josh wants to be physical and, you want to get him to run downhill and, they're tush pushing them and QB sneaking them and things like that, you got to make sure you make your hits count. And I thought Jacksonville was doing a great job of doing that. I also think that, Josh, while you say he wasn't the MVP, I think he was doing a good job of working with what he had ultimately. It felt like, Shakir was the only one who he really trusted within that offense. And every time the Bills needed a first down, it felt like he was looking his direction to move the ball. So while I agree with you, I mean, I think Tre'Davious White played incredible there. I do think, Josh Allen definitely deserves a ton of credit for being able to get the Bills to ultimately win that football game.
I got it. And it's really tough for people to see. but you can zoom in on the podcast and I'll show you. So this play, they're running cover 3. And a lot of people don't fully understand cover 3. So let me explain it quickly. Cover 3 means there's 3 safeties and there's 3 different quadrants. There's the right quadrant, there's the center quadrant, and then there's the left quadrant, right? In cover 3, and Cottrell, I know you studied enough film. What's the best way to attack cover 3?
Right up the seam.
Right up the seams. And this play call was a perfect cover 3 beater. But Tre'Davious White saved the touchdown here by reading and anticipating. Now, could this ball be thrown sooner? Sure, but here we go. So this ball is a little bit outside on the seams right here, but I want you to look right here. I wish I could put a circle around it of the wide open Jaguars receiver that Tre'Davious White came off of to make that play. Incredible football play, great instincts. Now here's the game-ending tip ball that led to an interception by him jumping across. That's just a very athletic play. And probably a throw that could have been led a little bit more. Tight window throw. I don't think Trevor Lawrence needs to make that throw. But Tre'Davious White deserves a lot of credit for how good he was in that football game. Anyone want to go? Thoughts on the game?
No, I mean, again, it was another great game. I think for parts of it, I think Trevor looked better than Josh. But you know, you can say White made a good play. I think it's more for me. I don't think Trevor needed to make that throw at that time.
You're talking about the interception, right?
What?
You're talking about the interception at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought the play with the seams was the perfect play.
No,
maybe a little late.
You know, I mean, Trevor. Listen, I mean, if you want to be the guy, I mean, we talk about it with all quarterbacks. You know, not picking on Trevor. It's just, you know, you have the ball in your hand and you have the ability to go win the game, and that happens. It's a little bit, you know, a little bit unfortunate. But again, I think it's a little. I think with the time left, to Gene's point, I don't think he had to make that throw at that time. They were still fine, but I thought Trevor, for the most part, played pretty well. I think Josh had a really good game. You know, avoided all mistakes. Only had 1 touchdown pass, but he ran for 2 more. You know, and Buffalo's defense out of nowhere last month of the season starting to look a little bit better. You know, kind of bend don't break, but the numbers on paper don't look great, but they're getting stops in big spots of big games. So I was really looking forward to hopefully Trevor making a run here. I thought Jacksonville was one of the hottest teams in the league by far the last 2 months. Home playoff game, and again, this would have been a huge signature win for that team and for Trevor. So I think they probably feel like they let one slip through their fingers. We'll see what happens with Josh. Advances another round to a playoff that I don't know if it's ever going to get any easier for him to get through. So I mean, he debatably just beat his hardest test. So we'll see what happens.
Katron, any other thoughts on the Jaguars game for a move?
No, I mean, I like I said, I thought Trevor played well. I thought Josh played well. If you're a Jacksonville fan, similar to what I said about Carolina, look, the reality is you had the number 2 overall pick last year. And granted, you were supposed to have 5 and you traded up, but you were bad enough to where you were in the top 5 of the draft class there. And you have enough talent ultimately now to compete. And Trevor Lawrence looks like he can take that next step with Liam Cohen as his head coach there leading the way for him. So a lot to be proud about.
Last game on Sunday, the Chargers and the what if Justin Herberts went up against New England. And I'll tell you right now, Drake May, for his first playoff game, did not play great. As much as people want to talk about 300 all-purpose yards and what he did, and he had 2 turnovers and a third very turnover-worthy play, where you got to give all the credit in the world to that offensive lineman for diving on that football, because that's a touchdown. That is an absolute touchdown-saving play. Your thoughts on the Patriots-Chargers, Cottrell?
Yeah, so I mean, this was as great as every other game felt, to this point. I thought this was one that was rather boring. Not because I don't like seeing defense, play or see defense dominate, but there just really wasn't much that was going on. And granted, the Patriots do an excellent job getting after the quarterback, but even the plays where they weren't necessarily sacking Justin Herbert, it just felt like that the Chargers offense never really got in a rhythm. And you saw Marion Hampton out there, and he didn't look like himself the first couple carries, so they just didn't play him. They had nothing going in the run game there. And then even with Justin Herbert, like throwing the ball downfield, you never really saw Lab McConkey or Keenan Allen or Gatson getting a rhythm. So for me, I felt like this game was rather boring. I will say I had a lot of question marks going into this game about the New England Patriots. I know I mentioned last week, I was like, when's the last time they beat a playoff team? And that was in October against the Buffalo Bills. I saw a lot there where, the Patriots arguably have one of the best defenses, remaining in the playoffs here. Drake May, of course, has to be better. He has to, ultimately play a lot better if they want to win a Super Bowl this year. But at the same time, I think you only need to do what your team needs of you. And I think he did a really good job of doing that. So Patriots ultimately move on. The Chargers are still with a ton of question marks. And you've had Herbert, 5 years at this point, and you still don't have a playoff win under his belt. I think you need to start figuring out what you can do to make that change.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think New England's probably happy with the way they played. Chargers, obviously, defense, kept them in that game for a long time. Chargers, I mean, listen, when you look at, kind of like Cottrell said, they couldn't get the passing game really going, and then on top of that, Justin Herbert running for his life pretty much every second or third play, was also their leading rusher by a wide margin. It's just not a good recipe to go win a football game on the road. It is, I think Drake May looked kind of like it was his first playoff game, like Gene said. I wouldn't be super confident if I was New England right now. Again, San Diego or Los Angeles, sorry, has a really good defense, and they kept them in the game, but that offense is going to have to look a lot better to beat if they're going to try to go any deeper in the playoffs. It's got to look more like it did in the regular season. The question marks for Los Angeles, there's a bunch. I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of what ifs, but there's also again a bunch of legitimate question marks of stuff they have to address. Obviously, they're going to get Slater and Alt back next year, which is a huge. They'll have. You would assume a healthy Marion Hampton, coming back next year as well. I don't think Quentin Johnson's back. Ladd is a great second or third option. He's not a number one. They got to address something on the outside. And yeah, they got to find. They fired Greg Roman already. Obviously, like we talked about earlier in the show. They got to find something that that is more fluid and more consistent, and not, hey, let's score 24 one week and score 13 the next, and everything in between. There's too much talent in that team for them, like Cottrell said, to not have won a playoff game in the last 5 years. So I think Harbaugh and company will figure it out. I think they'll draft somebody. I think they'll definitely take a weapon in the first round. Healthy offensive line next year. We'll see if they keep Becton or not. Gene mentioned that when we were talking about the Eagles. And then we'll see what happens. But they have some things they need to address. It's not just all injuries and kind of bad circumstances.
Okay. And then Monday night, you guys both predicted the Houston Texans to dominate. I had the Texans too, but not as dominant as a fashion. Texans offense didn't look great. It doesn't look like they're going to have Nico Collins this week either. But what do you guys want to mention with the Texans before we get into trivia?
I think the Nico thing is a big deal because the offense looks drastically different when he's on the field and when he's not. He's obviously CJ's guy, and he's been a guy, for they might have to start changing this a little bit, but he goes over the middle a lot. He's not just a deep threat, and that helps CJ. But he's been pretty banged up this year. I think it's a second concussion this year, and it's not that much. There's not too much space in between them time-wise, so I don't know if he's going to clear protocol. I would say, judging kind of how he was Monday night on a short week, I'd be shocked if he plays this weekend. That'll be a big hit for them. That defense is always capable of going out and just absolutely winning them and stealing them a game, though. It's it'll be interesting. I think CJ's still capable of going out and winning with what he has. I think the offensive game plan is going to be different. Obviously, your best weapon isn't going to play, but CJ's got to step up and put the team on his shoulders and do what he can do. I still think it's a winnable game, especially with that defense. And we'll see what happens. But losing Nico hurt. That offense drastically looks different when he's on the field.
I think if you're Houston, you have to be absolutely ecstatic about what you saw on the field on Monday night. And I say that because, everything offensively that could have went wrong did go wrong. And you had CJ Stroud fumble the ball like 5 times in the game. You had him throw interception in the game. Obviously, you had Nico Collins go out. And you still absolutely dominate that football game. Now, granted, I understand it's the Pittsburgh Steelers and, they don't have a juggernaut of offense or anything like that. But just to be able to go into Pittsburgh and to make that team look like that and just absolutely dominate that football game. And, you also have Woody Marks coming off of a career high performance there in that football game as well. So I think if you're Houston, you don't think that CJ Stroud should play that bad again moving forward here, or at least you hope not. And if he doesn't, I think the way that the Patriots looked last week, I think you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're saying, hey, if our defense can show up in this football game, and even if it's a low-scoring football game, I think we'll have enough, even without potentially Nico Collins next week to get the job done. So I think if you're Houston, obviously you want Nico to play, but if he doesn't play, the way that defense is looking right now, and the way that they seem to be being able to establish the run, I think they have a lot to be looking forward to next week.
Guys, I feel like I'm going to be on the other side of you two when we do previews. We'll do trivia real quick, then we'll preview, and then we'll get into college football and then the awards. We need you guys for the awards. What?
I said we also got to talk about Steelers.
Oh, let's talk about coaching after that. We're already 10 minutes late on trivia.
Yep. Oh no, I'm saying after. Yeah.
Yeah. Coaching carousel is gonna be fun too. College football is gonna be a little bit light because there's only really one game to preview, but that's not gonna be that light. We're recap 2 and preview 1, but we'll probably go over a little bit. That is what it is. Let's get into trivia.
Boom, boom, boom. All right. In celebration of the NFL playoffs.
Okay.
I'm going to give you guys one hint off the bat just to start to steer you in the correct direction here.
I'll take any hints I can get.
We're going to do the top 10 NFL scoring leaders all time in the playoffs.
Okay.
Now, here's your caveat hint for both of you right off the bat. Just to steer you in the correct direction. 7 of the top 10 people on this list are kickers. And I will say this, every one of them you both know and are household names, obviously, because they would have had a bid in the playoffs for a long time.
You love your kicking, bro.
I had this question sent to me, and I didn't know what the answers were. And then I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do it."
Well, 7 out of 10 kickers. That I immediately I went to. So I go. Control 1. Control gets to first.
Control goes first.
It is
your choice, first or second, sir.
I will go first here because the first kicker that comes to mind, I'm going to need some additional time to think about it. But the first one that comes to mind is Adam Vinatieri.
Oh,
Adam Vinatieri, number 1 with 238 points.
all right. Well, Vinatieri, Butker's been there a ton. I'll take the Kansas City kicker off the board.
Harrison Butker, number 3, 175 points.
I'm going to take a guy who absolutely doesn't miss, who would have had his team in the playoffs had he not been weird. I'll take Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker is not on the list.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean, Vinatieri wasn't there the whole time, and the Patriots made the playoffs every year. I'd imagine Gostkowski's on this list.
Number 2, 212 points.
Not as high as I thought he'd be, but that's crazy.
All right. Well, you said, I mean, your caveat here also was it's only 7 out of 10. And I mean, the greatest player of all time has to be on this list here. I'm going to go with Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's not on the list.
Well, isn't it?
Well, what is this? What are we skill? Was it skill players?
Or the touchdown, not passing touchdown.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Am I correct when I say that, Bill?
You are correct.
Okay. And by the way, you might have gave me a hint there when you said greatest player of all time, but I could be wrong. I'm just thinking of guys that are always in the playoffs. Kickers that are always in the playoffs. I'm going to ride this kicker train as long as I can. Who's another kicker always in the playoffs? If Parker's not on the list, Jesus. I feel like I'm umming too much, bro. Let me just throw a kicker out there. David Akers.
David Akers is tied for number 3 with Harrison Butker, 175 points.
Eagles were in the playoffs every year in the early 2000s.
3-1.
I'll go Jerry Rice.
That was the guy. Is he on there?
Jerry Rice is number 7 with 132 points.
That was the guy I thought you were going to say last round.
3-2.
Jake Elliott.
Jake Elliott is not on the list.
You're just running the kickers.
I'm going teams that are always in the playoffs and they're kickers. That's my strategy right now. And the Eagles are always in the playoffs.
I'll let you go that route. I'm going to go the opposite route there. I'll go Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith is tied for 8th, 126 points, 3-3.
See, that's a smart move.
So we have 1 position player left and 3 kickers.
Is the position player Travis Kelce?
He is not in the top 10.
Okay, I'm gonna go as the position player Rob Gronkowski.
Rob Gronkowski is not on the list.
Is the position player Emmitt Smith?
I already said Emmitt Smith.
I already said Emmitt Smith. So yes, he is on here.
Sorry. What about that? I'm so lost. I'm lost.
10 seconds.
That's fine. T.O.
T.O. is not on the list.
Not even close to the list.
Um,
Isn't even playing the playoffs much.
He's not in the top 20.
I kind of figured. I'm random. I'm randomizing.
Trying to go through here. Mm, I'm with you, Gene. I'm trying to think about players who are always in the playoffs, as like the go-to. I'll go Marvin Harrison.
Not on the list. Would you like hints?
Yes.
Wait, we gotta wait till after. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You went first. Gene's got to go. Sorry.
You guys know what Bill stands for? Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. They made 4 in the early 90s. I'm hoping that the creator of the K-gun, Thurman Thomas, is on this list.
Thurman Thomas is tied for number 8 with 126.
Wow.
So 4-3.
That is an excellent one.
We are out of position players.
Now we have kickers.
You have 3 kickers.
Okay.
Do you want hints?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm gonna make you wait it out. Well, one more round. I'm gonna go with the guy. I don't even know how long I don't even know what his playoff pedigree is, but he was one of the kickers, long time considered the GOAT before Vinatieri came along. I'm going Morton Anderson.
It's great.
Morton Anderson is not on the list.
All right, we can get hints next round then.
I think it was the way he just said that. I think Shally just gave away one of the answers. Is Gary Anderson on the list?
He is number 6.
Yo, by the way you said that, he goes, Morton Anderson is not on the list. You got to rewatch that. I'm not like kidding with you. I had no idea. And he goes, Morton Anderson isn't on the list.
That's 5-3. So Gene is Dormy. There's 2 kickers left. Do you want
2 kickers
hints?
left? Absolutely.
I want hints.
Absolutely.
Shally gave me a great hint there. Thanks, bro. Text me your Venmo after the show.
All right. One guy was in the league for 16 years, and 15 of them were with Green Bay.
Oh shit! Okay, that's a giveaway.
The other guy
You better take that one.
was in the league for 17 years and played for the Bears, the Giants, and the 49ers.
Okay.
I'll take the Packers one off the board here and make you think a little bit. I'll go with Mason Crosby.
Mason Crosby is number 5 with 163 points.
I don't think he made me think at all. When he said that long and they said Bears and 49ers, who was the third team? The Giants? I don't remember this guy playing for the Giants. So if he played for the Giants, I just don't remember it. But I think the guy you're looking for is Robbie Gould.
That is it.
Robbie Gould is it. Tied for 8th with 126 points.
I don't remember him playing for the Giants. But
I don't either, actually. But
oh, there's the chat. Robbie Gould. All right, well.
So not to be funny. Guess who's number 11?
Who?
Jake Elliott.
Wow.
Kelsey was 12. George Bland is 13. And then it's a whole bunch of kickers. Franco Harris is 16.
11 and 12?
Jake Elliott and Travis Kelsey.
So there are 2 picks I have.
Yeah.
Tucker's
18.
Do you guys want to do coaching carousel before we preview?
Let's go with me, yeah. Let's go ahead and knock it out.
Because preview, I think we're just going to give our predictions, and then we'll talk about it next week. I actually think the games this week are extremely easy outside Buffalo, Denver. I already know who's going to win 3 of those games. Like this week, it's like you can write down right now. I'm dead serious. Go do 3-team parlay. LA, Seattle, and New England, and you've already won 3 games.
You told me you're no doubt about it. Lock of the week last week was the Eagles, and I
Right.
saw how that went. So I'm gonna have some
I'm
reservations on that one.
I also said the Packers were a lock.
See, I was gonna let that one slide. I just want Eagles because that's your team. That was the big one.
I think Seattle wins, covers. I think they win by 25. I really believe that.
Green Bay was a lock for 45 minutes.
I think Seattle wins by like 25 points. I think it's a blowout. Like, not fun. Well, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth when your team is now in the playoffs and you think you're good.
Who's his team?
He's a Patriots fan.
Oh, okay.
See, I think that game's a toss-up.
Coaching carousel, though.
All right.
So I got to give my breaking news first because it has to do with the coaching carousel.
Okay.
This is Gene breaking news. Sources close to the situation. By the way, if you don't know, Gene breaking news is all bullshit. It's like me. Yeah, it's just me. Like, I feel like I have a really good hand on the pulse here, and I'm giving this breaking. There's no source.
Trust me, bro.
Yeah, trust me, bro. That's my source. My guy Brian Flores is going to be hired as the next coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's done. It's written in ink. Mark it down. He spent 3 years there as a defensive assistant. Or didn't spend 3 years there. So 2.5 years or 1.5 years there as defensive assistant to Mike Tomlin. He's beloved in the organization, and he's the first person that Steelers asked to interview. I truly believe Brian Flores will finally get his next opportunity head coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers. Trust me, bro.
And talk about a match made in heaven. You know they're gonna give you some leeway. They're gonna give you some rope, and if you ultimately deserve to be fired, that'll be when you get fired. But they've never been ones to, pull the trigger quick there. So I mean, I think that'd be a great hire, and talk about job security. I mean, probably no better place to be than Pittsburgh as far as job security.
No, I mean it's arguably the most well-run NFL franchise in the league. The Rooney Rule is obviously named after them. They are just an family-owned, but when you can look at a team and say from 1969 to 2026, you've only had 3 head coaches. That is a team that hires who they think are the best people. And they stand behind those people. Bill Cowher kind of stepped down, unexpectedly. If not, he would have been the coach there for pretty much probably till he wanted to be. And they were behind Mike Tomlin forever. So I would be very happy for Flores if he ends up taking that job, if he gets that job offered him.
I think the first hire happens tomorrow morning. I think John Harbaugh signs with the New York Giants. Just marking that down just so you guys can hear it. I think there's a lot that are going to happen in the coaching carousel. Since last week, the 2 longest tenured coaches in the NFL are no longer head coaches of their teams. John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, never a losing season. Wow. Stepped away. I feel like it was mutual. No coach coaches on a 1-year contract. I feel like it was like, you guys want to extend me? No. You haven't offered me an extension yet. I'm going to hit the road. We'll call this mutual.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's earned that, but at the same point too, I think the Steelers, they do the things the right way. I don't think they ever wanted to your point, get to the situation where they were gonna have to use the terminology of that we fired Mike Tomlin. I think he deserved better than that. He earned better than that, and I think the Steelers looked at it that way. And like you said, I don't think he wanted to coach on a 1-year deal. I don't think they were going to offer him an extension at that point. Everybody walks away happy. Everybody walks away, their heads held high, and best situation for both parties.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think ultimately it was one of those things where, I feel like this is really the writing has been on the wall for my opinion the last 4 or 5 weeks here. Just kind of seeing how Pittsburgh, performed down the stretch there, and you spent all of your offseason essentially trying to retool that roster to essentially be a win now team. And I'd say nobody really thought the Pittsburgh Steelers this year were going to be a Super Bowl team, but you go out and you get Jalen Ramsey and you trade for DK and you bring in Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't think you're making those kinds of moves to just be, 10-7 this year and make the playoffs and lose another first round playoff game. So I thought that this time was coming. I told you guys through text that I thought Mike Tomlin would be, one of the guys that is no longer coaching his team there. And I think this is as good of a coach as Mike Tomlin is. I think he's a top 5 coach in all of the NFL. I think this is the time for Pittsburgh to make that change, because I do think that his voice in that locker room, while it's well respected, I think the message got stale. And I think it's just time for a new voice in that locker room and a new philosophy with that team to ultimately get them back to where, we're typically used to seeing a Pittsburgh Steelers team in the playoffs.
I do think your comparison with him and Doc Rivers is so unfair and so illogical. And I kind of want to fight with you about it. I really did. But you know what I did? The more and more I think about it, I think, like, I get it. It's your biggest rival. I'm a big hater on the Cowboys. I understand that. But I think your comp of him and Doc Rivers is just not unfair. Doc Rivers has have multiple teams going into the season where they're like favorites or one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. And Mike Tomlin hasn't had a good quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger, 2 years before Ben Roethlisberger basically was shot already. So, like, I don't think it's fair. And also, Doc Rivers went to many different situations. Like, he went to Philadelphia, he was in LA, he was in Boston, Orlando. Mike Tomlin hasn't. He's been in one situation. So I don't think it's fair, your Doc Rivers comp to Mike Tomlin. But I chalk it up being that you're a Cleveland Browns fan and that's your biggest rival. I'm very illogical of the Cowboys.
I mean, of course, it's not apples to apples. Like, I don't think Doc is like I just said. I think Mike Tomlin is a top 5 coach in the NFL. I don't think Doc Rivers was ever, even in his quote unquote prime, was a top 5 coach in the NBA. But I like the comparison with Doc because one, you just know at this point in their career, like, where they were at, like, they're not going to win. And the other thing too is that there's nobody in the world that hangs on to a 2008 championship more than those two. And I think that is where my comparison really, stems from. Again, I think Tomlin's a great coach and things like that. I just say, though, you cannot be a coach, and regardless of what you say about, Ben not having a quarterback, things like that, let's not forget that this ultimately stems back 9 years since the Steelers have won a playoff game. And Ben wasn't old for all of those years. And Ben's not even eligible yet for the Hall of Fame yet. So, like, let's not just act like it's been the last 3-4 years where this has been the case. Like, let's not forget that the Steelers lost to a Blake Bortles-led Jacksonville Jaguars team when they were a favorites to potentially win a Super Bowl. So, like, that's really kind of what I'm getting at there when I talk about Mike Tomlin and the comparison with Doc Rivers, because there have been times where, of course, he's, I would say, overachieved. But there's also been times where we've looked at Steelers roster, like when they had AB and they had Le'Veon and they had a top 5 defense in the league and they weren't winning playoff games, where I say it's okay if we hold them accountable, although we like the guy who's coaching them.
All right, so let's do the coaching carousel and just see if any of our opinions change. Because now there's more coaches available and there's 9 jobs available. Sorry. So we'll start with not the easy ones. We'll start with the one. Yeah.
Instead of like going through the full thing, I mean, I would just ask, like, because if a lot of them are going to stay the same, which I kind of feel like because none of the job openings have changed there, I mean, I would just say, like, are there any for you guys that have changed? Because I don't think we need to necessarily go through all 8 of them. You know what I mean?
It's fine. I changed a few of them, in my opinion, right? Because I said Flores to Baltimore last week.
Yep.
I think Flores goes to Pittsburgh now. So I have to change that, and I think Jesse Minter goes to Baltimore.
See, I had Cliff going to Baltimore from the jump.
Obviously, I know Harbaugh's the big domino to kind of fall. I do think the Pittsburgh thing complicates it a little bit because Flores, obviously, like Gene said earlier, has his past history, already coached there. I think he will be high on Pittsburgh's list. Jesse Minter is probably a name that probably gets elevated a little bit because there's going to be extra jobs available now. Him going home to Baltimore would make sense. Other than that, I don't know if Cliff gets a job. I'm kind of staying pat with everything else for now.
Control, what's changed for you?
I mean, I don't think anything has really changed for me. I think I more so now need to just focus on who's going to get the Steelers job. And I think they go with somebody who is established already. I think Flores would make a ton of sense there. Forgot who I had Flores going to previously. But I mean, I can see Brian Flores would make a ton of sense going to Pittsburgh.
Well, he was going to be your DC on your all-star coaching staff.
No, he was not going to be my DC.
I think did I say Mike McDaniel's your next head coach last week?
No, you said Chris Shula.
I think Mike McDaniel's your next head coach.
I'm actually starting to think that too, or the Jags OC. I think it's only one of those two guys.
I think it's Flores goes to Pittsburgh now, but Vegas is where I thought he went last week. I didn't say Baltimore. I said Vegas because I thought he'd be the head coach and Dable would be the OC. But I think Flores now goes to Pittsburgh. Now that Pittsburgh job's open. Who do you guys think the Tennessee Titans hire? By the way, I just want to make this very clear. This is the part in the NFL where I always get into this very quickly. And I should say it out loud. What has Matt Nagy done to earn a second opportunity?
So last week,
nothing. Nada.
Why is Matt Nagy get a second opportunity before a lot of other coaches?
Because he's on the Andy Reid coaching tree.
Okay, I hate that. I think Tennessee.
Get all you want.
1,000% agree with my princess. Okay, cool. Yeah, consideration interview. I hope so too. Who do you think the Titans hire? You don't think they hire Matt Nagy, right?
No.
I also don't think there's probably going to be a lot of people lining up to take that job.
Why not? They have Cam Ward who had a decent season. I think Cam Ward had great flashes. They have tons of money. They have a decent defense. Why not? They obviously were horribly coached. Like, that wasn't the Titans' team fault that they were so poorly coached.
But I think, though, if you're looking at that, though, if you're a first-time head coach, like seeing how short of a leash, granted, I thought Callahan was the wrong hire to begin with, but
yeah,
kind of see how short of a leash that he had there, and you're going with the second-year quarterback with, to John Suggs' point, no offensive line, really no weapons on the offense. Is that something that's enticing there for you, or do you hang tight and just wait for the next go around in the cycle?
Guys, this feels to me, now I have not seen any report of him interviewing, any report of him going there, and this is just speculation, but this feels to me like a Cliff Kingsbury home. Like a situation in which mobile quarterback with Cam Ward, even though he's not as mobile as Kyler and Jaden, he still is mobile, but he's also I compare him a lot more to Caleb than I do to Jaden and Kyler, just the way like he moves in the pocket. He's not trying to run, but I think it's a Cliff Kingsbury situation. Really believe
I'm still thinking Kevin Stefanski.
I think Stefanski goes to – isn't Stefanski rumored in Atlanta?
I mean, he's interviewed there.
We'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Let's see what Jory says. I know she's a Titans fan. Actually, a lot of people are saying that because of Cam and Borgonzi and the cap space. It's very attractive. I mean, they just need to get rid of Dan Moore Jr. Their offensive line. There is an offensive line. They're young, first-round draft picks. I love Kingsbury to the Titans. Okay. Let's preview some football games.
Football.
Let's do it.
Guys, I'll just do this in order, and I'll ask you guys what your opinion, how you think it breaks down, and then we'll get into college football. Saturday afternoon, it's probably, obviously it's the Seattle game, right? No. Who's Saturday afternoon? Oh, Buffalo, Denver. Oh, yuck. It's probably the best game. I'm going to miss it. I think this is the best game of the playoff, of the second round of playoffs. I don't know who wins this game. So I'm going to listen to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me who wins, and I might make the decision based off that.
I got Denver at home. I think it's a very low-scoring football game, 19-16. I think you get a lot of field goals. You get, some turnovers on both sides there. But ultimately, I think Denver's defense at home will be enough, and they'll get the stop they ultimately need to, and they'll walk it off with a field goal. So I like Denver at home in a very low-scoring kind of football game.
I think it's low scoring as well, just because Denver's offense can get very plodding at times. But that being said, I think Peyton will have a good game plan for Bo Nix. I think they'll take care of the football. They'll score a couple touchdowns. They'll sit back and rely on their defense. I think they're going to keep Josh Allen, pretty much contained and in front of them a lot. I don't think they're going to allow the big play to happen, which I think is going to hurt Buffalo a lot. So I like Denver in a close one. I'll say like 23-17, something like that.
It's funny. I seemingly like Denver more and more, especially because of Nick Bonito in that front. Like, I think that Buffalo struggled so much moving the football last week. You heard me pick Buffalo to win the Super Bowl last week. After watching their offense, and then they put two more receivers on IR in Charles Shavers and Gabe Davis. I heard Cottrell's running out wide receiver 3 for them this week. I don't know how they can win at Denver after winning at Jacksonville. Josh Allen took a beating last week. I think I want to switch that, but it's crazy because I really part of me goes, this Josh's year to get to the Super Bowl. But the other part of me goes, there's no logic in that. Khalil Shakir and a bunch of guys that could be working at Dollar Tree next week cannot beat the Denver Broncos in Denver. I just don't see it. And Denver's run defense is so good that I can't see James Cook making a huge impact in that football game either. Denver's offense would really have to lose them this football game. I'm going to go with Denver also in an ugly 19-10 football game. I just don't think Buffalo can keep getting by with Superman throwing on his cape. Josh took so many hits last week. And if you think that Jacksonville front seven is mean, that Denver front seven is meaner. Keon Coleman better pop off. Yeah. Next game, Saturday night. Guys, this is an absolute blowout. I don't see any way San Francisco competes in this football game. If San Fran played any other playoff team last week, I think they lose. They played the worst playoff team in Philadelphia, and I give them credit. I give Robert Saleh credit for developing a game plan that he already used against Philadelphia when he was the Jets head coach. But I don't see any way San Fran hangs around this football game. I think Seattle rested their defense. I think they kill San Fran. I don't think this game's even close. I'll take Seattle to win this game 56-3.
I don't think it's that much of a blowout.
I don't either. I'm just being an asshole. I'll go 27-17. 27-10. I don't think it's that close, though.
I got it. Listen, I think San Francisco will come out with a lot of energy and try to hang in it early. I do agree with you as it goes. I think they get worn down a little bit. Missing a couple more starters now, even before they had before last week. I just don't think with what San Francisco is going to do offensively, it's going to be enough. But I'll say they lose. I'll say they lose by a touchdown, maybe 10 points. I don't think it's anything out of control, though.
I think this is another ugly football game, guys. I saw these two teams play at the end of the regular season for the one seed essentially, and granted, Kittle played in that game. He was already banged up in that game. He had sat the week before. He didn't do anything crazy in that game. So of course, this game looked a little bit different because Kittle won't be playing at all. But for a large majority of it, these teams are very similar from that matchup there. And that game ultimately ended up 13-3. I think this will be a little bit more of the same. I think Seattle's offense may move the ball a little bit better. I'm thinking like maybe 20-6. Like I think this game's very ugly, very low scoring. Because I think at the end of the day, if you're Seattle, you just focus on slowing down Christian McCaffrey, and if anybody else beats you, so be it. And I think the way that the Seattle's defense is playing, you like your chances pretty much one-on-one with everybody out there, not named Christian McCaffrey. So I think they game plan for him, make sure he doesn't go too crazy in the pass game, and ultimately win 20-6.
Sunday at 3:30, the New England Patriots are going to take on the Houston Texans in New England. I know where you two are going. I follow. Both of you guys are sticking with your original picks, right? The Texans, they shouldn't have done anything to take you off that.
No.
So tell me how the Texans win this football game. Is it just defense, or CJ Stroud play better, even without Nico Collins?
I mean, for me, I think the big thing is don't turn the football over. I think if you give the Patriots offense, three extra opportunities with turnovers, whether it be 2 fumbles, an interception, 3 fumbles, whatever the case may be, you give them 3 extra possessions, I do think at some point they will make you pay. And as good as that Texans defense is, Travion Henderson has the ability to break that game open with 1 carry. And so I think as a whole, Drake May, of course, I think he's going to play better. I think you're kind of crazy if you think he's going to play have as bad of a game as he had last week. But as a whole, though, I think if the Texans play their brand of defense and CJ Stroud doesn't turn the football over, I think they can win in any fashion. I think they can win a low scoring game. I think they have the ability on offense, even without Nico, to have success, at least a little bit of sustained success, to put points up on the board. So the biggest thing for me, CJ, you don't turn the ball over. I think the Texans win this football game.
Shall we?
Same. We talked already, at length about Nico not being there. But that being said, I think CJ can do enough with what he has in the field. Maybe get the running game going a little bit more. It's definitely going to be a defensive battle. I mean, you both have teams that have units that can get after it, sack the quarterback, rush the quarterback, get them off their spot. But I still just really love Houston's defense. They can do everything. They tackle well. They get out the quarterback well. They cover well in the back end. I think it's going to be a little bit too much for New England. And, to Cottrell's point, same. I don't think if they can't get something going early in the game that's exciting offensively, I think they might get stuck in that same rut they were in, in the previous week. So I like Houston to advance.
I love New England in this football game. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm ready to make a proclamation. Will Anderson Jr. is my favorite player in the NFL. Like I've always been a fan of his. I watch him play. I am just literally in awe. There was a play in that game that versus Pittsburgh in which Houston only rushed 3 people, and it felt like 2 of them, being Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., just got to the quarterback like there was nobody's business. I love watching Will Anderson play. He sniffs out every screen. You can't be too tricky with him because he'll figure out what you're doing. I don't think it's going to matter that much because I think the Patriots are just a better football team. I think Houston's defense is better, but not that much better. I think New England's defense is way better than Houston's offense. And I think that the game plan going this football game has to be protect the football. And if the Patriots do not turn the football over, if they don't lose the turnover battle by 2, they're going to win this game. I think it's going to be 17-10 or 20-13. I think it'll be close, but I think the Patriots just all in all better team. Eric said it's going to be in the snow. If it's in the snow, I feel even stronger. I feel like New England will be able to run the football better than Houston will be. And then the last game on the docket, I think this game is the highest scoring game of the weekend. I also think it's an absolute blowout. I think the LA Rams are going to be too much for a very beaten, battered Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. I don't see how Chicago stays in this game. They have no linebackers to speak of. I think that they got Manny Moe and Curley playing linebacker for them this week. I don't understand how they can win. I just don't see it. I don't see any path. Caleb would have to go absolutely berserk, and he can because LA doesn't have the corners. But I truly believe Chicago they exasperate everything out of that. I like the Rams in this one. I like the Rams big. I'll go 42-27.
I like the Rams to make some adjustments from last week. I agree with Eugene. I don't think, like we talked about earlier in the show, I don't think they're going to let Caleb go nuts in the fourth quarter. I don't think it's that much of a blowout, but I do like the Rams to win. I think, kind of like we talked about with the Chargers, at some point this time of year, you never want to use them as an excuse, but injuries just become what they become. Missing 3 starting linebackers now, they're missing people in the back end. It's just a lot going against the Rams team, Rams offense particularly, that's healthy, has Adams, but Puka. They have the 2-headed running back monster now with Corum and Kyron Williams. They can just come at you a lot of different ways. Matt Stafford always likes throwing to the tight ends in the red zone. It's just going to be a lot. Congratulate Caleb for getting his first win last week. I think the run stops here, though. I like the Rams. I like the Rams by 10.
See, I think this is actually going to be a close football game, and not because I think the Bears are, as good of a football team as the Rams or anything like that. Obviously, you guys know I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl, but I think that Caleb and company with this offense, like I think they can take a lot from what Carolina did last week, and of course, I think the Rams will make their adjustments, but as a whole, I think Caleb is starting to slowly but surely figure it out. I think defensively, of course, they do have a ton of injuries, especially in the linebacker room there. But maybe you get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back this week. I think on the back end, you're actually starting to probably be the healthiest as you've been all year. If Deshaun Wright plays, you got Kyler Gordon back there. You got on the other side, the other Jalen Johnson at corner. Like all those guys really haven't had a chance to play together all year. And so ultimately, I'm thinking that you're going to have a Bears team that can try and figure it out. And I also think to Kyle's point, weather's going to play a factor in this football game. We saw the Snow Bowl last year with the Eagles and the Rams. Maybe you get the second coming of that at Soldier Field there. So I like the Rams to still win this football game, but I ultimately think it's going to be a close football game.
All right, guys. College football, ready to move from the NFL. I think that when you look at what happened this past week, Miami, got to give them all the credit in the world, man. They played really good football. I love what they've done. I didn't expect them to win this game. I thought Trinidad Chambliss would get it done. Truly, I believed in them. I don't think there's anything they could have did. I think Miami's front was very good, and I think that as a whole, Miami did everything that they needed to do to win that football game. In the other game, and you guys, I'll pass it right to you guys because you guys are way more in depth with college football than me. But that wasn't a football game. That was an absolute thrashing. 35-7 at the half. Indiana just destroyed Oregon. The Ole Miss Miami game is great. Good football game. I felt like when Miami just could run the ball and they could handle just every time, they just kept getting that first down. They were great on third down. I felt like Ole Miss's defense couldn't help them as much as Miami's defense could. Your guys' thoughts on these two college football playoff games?
I'll go to the second one quick because we've already talked about it on Coast to Coast, and you pretty much summed it up pretty succinctly. Kind of a boots to asses type game. First play of the game, pick 6. It didn't get much better from there. I thought Oregon for those next 5 minutes really held their composure really well, right down the field and scored. And I was like, okay, like maybe we have a game here. And then it just became a boat race after that. Mendoza 5 touchdown passes, bunch of short fields. Again, Oregon's offense looked very don't want to say out of sync, but they didn't look prepared. Second year in a row in a huge game where I felt defense took away what they wanted to do, and they had no plan B. And they kept trying to run the same thing over and over. And Indiana just kept taking it away, forcing punts. And that's the worst Oregon's defense has looked all year by a mile. Indiana's just really good. They have no weakness. We've said the word juggernaut a couple times. They might just be. We're going to find out Monday. Miami, on the other hand, again, absolute great football game. Same kind of situation as I mentioned earlier with the Rams, though. You can't not score there, but I really looked at it when Shamlis threw that touchdown pass with over 3 minutes to go. I was like, that 3 minutes is a long time in college football, any football game. And you got to tip your cap to Carson Beck. You really do. Great drive, went right down the field, ran it in, 10 seconds to go to cap the victory. And Miami is Cinderella. We'll see if they got one more in them.
Did you have any issue with the non-called PI at the end of that game?
No. I mean, we've talked about it before where there's been some that are kind of like, all right, you can definitely tell contact happens, but I think the official the rules official they had on for the game was calling it, mutual combat or whatever he said. And he pretty much said it has to be absolutely egregious for them to throw a flag on a Hail Mary. Like somebody's got to like drop kick somebody or like it's got to be really bad because everybody's in there pushing, shoving. He's like, it's impossible. So
do we consider that a Hail Mary? Do you consider that a Hail Mary?
I mean,
at the 40-yard line, it wasn't really like.
It's not. I feel like a lot of people like think Hail Marys have to be like a certain distance. I get what you're saying, but I mean, it was, it was a, I mean, it's still a Hail Mary for me, but just one that was a little easier to reach. But
I felt like they could have gave Ole Miss another opportunity from the 20, and we could have finally figured out what would have happened in the game. Maybe it's because of Ole Miss. But I felt like he absolutely hooked the control.
I mean, I agree with you that the hook was there, but I think to Bill's point, last play of the game, like I'd say for 59 minutes, they really let him play. And so I would have kind of hated, even if it was just the one extra opportunity, I would have ultimately hated if it came down to, one additional play there. Eric, I somewhat disagree with you on that because this player got his hand on it, and we see players make tons of crazy one-handed catch. Hell, Malachi Tony made a crazy one-handed catch in that game that, he didn't get his foot down, but was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I'm good with them not calling that there. I think maybe if it's the second quarter, maybe I'm with you, Gene. Like maybe I'm saying, what, that's something that you should call, but game on the line, for me personally, I would like it to be a little bit more egregious, especially because in my opinion, I think both these guys have a right to the ball just as much as like the defenders have a right to the ball just as much as the offensive guys.
Okay. I mean, listen, the Indiana game is, who do you guys have in the national championship?
I got Indiana. I think it's is good of a story I think this is for Miami, and people were questioning whether they should be in the playoff or not. I think this ride comes to an end this week. I think Indiana is well coached, and not to say that Miami isn't, but I think Indiana is well coached, and I think Indiana is going to take a lot from what you've seen from Ohio State in the second half of their football game, Ole Miss, what you saw in the second half of their football game, and I think Indiana is going to apply that for 60 minutes there. So I like Indiana. I think this is going to be one of those games that middle of the third quarter, you start to see that it's not as interesting as you were hoping for. I like Indiana like 38-17.
Oh, I don't see that.
I think there's a distinct way to get there. And I don't disagree with Cottrell. The one thing that I thought you really saw in the Ole Miss game is the beginning of the game. Miami on both lines of scrimmage were dominant. And then you saw Ole Miss, especially in the second half, start going with tempo. Miami does not like rotating their linemen, and you start wear them down a little bit. Lacey started getting gashes. They weren't getting the Chambliss as much. Indiana already likes to go with tempo as it is. It's going to be in Miami. It's going to be outdoors. It's probably going to be on the hotter side. I just think it's something to watch. I can definitely see how it gets there. On the other side of the ball, though, I think Miami is going to, if Miami can impose their will offensively with that offensive line, and the difference between the defensive line and the offensive line size-wise, it's pretty dramatic across the line. If they can run the ball, and take chunks of time off the clock, it will limit what Indiana can do and can't do. But that being said, I like Indiana. I think Indiana wins by 10. I think Miami just unfortunately runs out of slippers.
Guys, I've told you the whole time. I've been on Miami the whole time. I even screenshotted the pick where I had Miami winning.
Been on Miami since week 10.
I have been earlier than that.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the second Penn State loss, which was week 4.
Yeah, but you were off of them after they lost to Louisville.
Nope, never off of them. I always had them. I never changed. Listen, I'm not a flip-flopper, guys. Miami's been my team. Last week, strong as I could be on Miami. I knew they were going to win. You guys all listened. You guys all heard. You guys wouldn't let me change, so Miami's my pick. But my pick for this week is not going to be Miami. Indiana is the better football team. I think Fernando Mendoza is a very, very good football player. I think you guys underrate the hell out of him. He is supremely accurate. The guy did not miss a pass. Like, he was all but perfect. He was 11 for his first 11 last week versus Oregon. I like Indiana to win this football game, but I don't think it's any bit as a blowout as people think it is going to be. I think Miami's defense, especially playing at home, is going to be a lot to slow down Fernando Mendoza in Indiana. I'll take Indiana to win this game, but a little bit less, offensively as you think it will be. I'll go 27-20 Indiana.
So I think that's the one thing that a lot of not saying that you fall in this category, Gene, but a lot of non-college football people aren't realizing is that, yes, Miami plays their home games at Hard Rock, but that's not a crazy football town. So it's not like Miami has this crazy, home field advantage, things like that. So I think you're going to have a lot of Miami, fans there. It's a national championship. It's at home and things like that. But I don't think it's going to be as crazy as it would be if, it was, Penn State playing at home or Ohio State playing at home or those big time programs playing at home.
The only reason I bring that up is because if you watch the game between Oregon and Indiana, that was 80% Indiana fans. The whole
absolutely.
crowd was red. I'm like, what the hell? Where did the Oregon fans come from? It's all Indiana. I'm like, it won't be that way at Hard Rock because it's so easy and accessible for Miami fans.
I'm just saying I would not be for that to be, quote unquote, a home game. Literally, I mean, it's played in their home stadium. I would not be surprised if it was a 50-50 split. I wouldn't be surprised at all for 50-50
Well,
split.
I mean, ticket-wise, that's how it's going to get dispersed. I mean, it's going to be a matter of that point of how many Miami fans buy tickets from other people or, off secondary markets. I just think, the bigger advantage of it is Miami doesn't have to get on a plane again. They're going to sleep in their own. They're going to sleep in their own beds all week. There's no traveling. There's no missed days of practice. There's none of that. So, I think that's an advantage. I think that's a decided advantage. I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if it's enough to sway the game, but
I just didn't stay in the atmosphere.
I get it.
But I get you.
I just think Indiana's better.
Just sending a couple things out because they were about to start the awards. Guys, fun show. I'm ready for the 2025 awards. by Wire2Wire on January 14th.
I feel like if the Hurricanes win, Michael Irvin probably doesn't make it through the night.
All right. Are we
straight Coke binge?
Are we ready for the first award?
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, first award. Best game of the year.
This is an easy one.
NBA Finals, Game 1.
Good
Halliburton
game.
hits the game winner. Texas, Arizona State, round 1 of the playoffs. Texas wins it in overtime.
Double overtime.
Double overtime. MLB World Series, Game 7. Goes to extra innings. The Dodgers complete back-to-back championships.
I mean, you brought Ali out early, bro. This is Ali versus anyone. This is a knockout punch if I've ever seen one. It's not only the best Game 7, it's the best Game 7 I've ever seen in my life. I think 100% it's World Series Game 7. As good as NBA Finals Game 1 was, as good as the double overtime game that happened on January 1st last year, World Series Game 7 was one of the best games of baseball I ever watched in my life. It's World Series Game 7. It's not that close.
I don't disagree. If Texas, Arizona State was for the championship or the NBA was finals was a Game 7, that's a whole different discussion. But the levity of it being Game 7 alone it takes it for me.
I agree. Clean sweep here. I'm going World Series Game 7 as well. And this one will always, I will never, the game itself was incredible, but for me, you guys also got to think, I was in the hospital. Audie is going through labor. Our son was born literally 9 hours later, and she's over here in, basically agony going through labor and things. And I'm just sitting there I can't do anything. And I'm watching this incredible baseball game. So it's definitely one that I will never forget because it is definitely a huge part of the pregnancy journey there for us. So
Audie, Yamamoto's coming out. He's coming out.
He just pitched yesterday. He just pitched yesterday. He's back.
Bringing in Ohtani.
Oh man,
just in another room screaming her head off, trying to push a baby out.
All right, next one. I'll let one of you guys introduce it. We can go, round robin, going through the categories, things like that. But best moment of the year.
So you got Halliburton pretty much single-handedly just knocking the Knicks out. Ovechkin breaking the all-time goal scoring record from Wayne Gretzky, or Myles Garrett breaking the sack record, which happened just a measly 10 days ago, right around there. From TJ Watt and Michael Strahan.
Guys, I'll shot stars with your pick. I'll go second.
I think this one's easy as well. I'm ecstatic that hockey made it into these awards. I'm going with Ovechkin. Wayne Gretzky, that was considered one of kind of the hallowed records that nobody thought any was ever going to be touched. And he's still playing. It was electric. He was pretty much on record watch for a week. They put all Washington's games on. It was a ton of fun to watch. Gretzky was there to greet him, which I thought was awesome. So I think this one's kind of easy for me. I'm going with Ovechkin.
All right, so we're probably going to get a split here, and I'll tell you why. I think all three of us picked something different. I've just given you my opinion. I'm on the Halliburton. So let me tell you why it's not Ovechkin to me. Ovechkin's record, 100% is something that is the greatest accolade that happened in 2025. But as far as the moment, we all knew it was going to happen. It was kind of anticlimactic. He was breaking the record. It was just what day was he going to break the record? The Halliburton choke symbol after hitting that bank three, at the top of the key, where then his foot ended up being on the line. That was a hell of a moment. So for me, it's Tyrese Halliburton as the moment.
And you guys are absolutely out of your mind if you think I'm not picking Myles Garrett breaking the sack record. 23 sacks, taking it away from Strahan and TJ Watt there. We're going to the fans early on this one.
So the next fan vote, this is what we do. But it doesn't matter who it is. The next fan vote that gets registered will be the tiebreaker. That's how we've done it for years. So the next comment that says one of these three is going to win it. Now, I know we're on a shade of a delay, so I kind of need to Halliburton. Jory Sports Stories pops in with Halliburton. Halliburton wins moment of the year. Shally does not like that. He's not happy camper.
No.
All right, so this one, Gene, I'll let you introduce it because it is your turn to go. But we also got a little video to go with this one as well, just so everybody can see what these are.
Oh, you have the knockout, all three knockouts on video?
Got all three of them.
Oh my god! So maybe you should play the video first before I announce it.
I can do that too.
Let's do that.
Okay. All right. Well, coming up, all three of the knockouts here in order: 1, 2, 3.
Norman pouring it on. Loving calling it for you. Good body shot by Norman. Oh, he's out cold. Out cold. I'm joining.
Ready in how Charles is absorbing these shots. Well, he's already busted up. Oh, out cold.
A man of his word.
Oh my goodness.
And
He called it. He called
UFC
it. Get off. It's right in front.
So you have Norman Jr. knocking out Sasaki. By the way, guys, if it wasn't that good, I wouldn't have put it on there. I know boxing doesn't get talked about a ton on the show, but that Norman Jr. knockout was insanity. You have Ilia Topuria knocking out Charles Oliveira in incredible fashion. The short right hook, sent him to sleep. And then Bo Nickel with the head kick, hit him with the bottom of the top of the foot, bottom of the shin, kicked him right in the face. All three guys knocked out cold. I'll start the voting with telling you that's one of the coolest boxing knockouts I've ever seen in my life. I know it's not the name, but it's okay because it's the knockout. Give me Norman Jr. over Sasaki.
I agree. I think that was an excellent knockout. I think all three of these are excellent. For me, though, I'm going with what I don't see too often there. I'm going with Bo Nickel and the head kick. Head kicks always excite me because ultimately, you know, they feel like they bring so much energy, especially to UFC fights there. And when those happen and you get the instant KO, he didn't even go over to, you know, try and, you know, get a couple shots in. He knew right away he was out cold. I like the celebration there afterwards, just kind of standing there looking over him. I'm going with Bo Nickel.
I'm gonna go with Nickel as well, pretty much for the same reason. Head kicks, I feel like are usually a little bit more devastating because you know most people can kick harder than they can punch, and you usually get better reactions when the guys hit the mat. So you know, the head kicks are a little bit special because they're more rare. So I'm going with Bo Nickel.
Guys, I have no problem with you guys going with Bo Nickel on this one. I'm being completely honest with you. I didn't care who won that one. I just wanted to give some love to Norman Jr. for that knockout, man. That boxing knockout has to be the flushest, cleanest knockout. And Jory said it. If you look like a snow angel after getting knocked out, I don't. All right, what's next?
Picture perfect counter hook.
All right, so just kind of sticking with the same script here, I'll go ahead, go through, introduce our nominees for this one. Fight of the year, you got Brandon Royval versus Joshua Van. In the ring, you had Bud Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. And then back in the octagon, you had Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree. For me, I think, again, that I hate just to keep saying that, you know, I think all of these are great options here because they wouldn't be here if they weren't. But for me, I think right away, the one fight that I had labeled as fight of the year was the Yuri versus Khalil Roundtree fight. It was a fight where Yuri was clearly losing, and I felt like he had to have a knockout happen in round 3, and he ultimately got it. And it just felt like he was just chopping away at Roundtree there. So for me, I'm going to go with Prochazka versus Roundtree.
Shall we?
I'm going Crawford Alvarez. I think for the hype, I think it lived up to the hype, and I think the importance of it for Terrence to finish undefeated, beat a huge name like Canelo. I think all that matters to me. So I'm going Bud versus Canelo.
Guys, I guess we're gonna get fans get ready. You're gonna have another fan vote because my vote is for Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval in a fight that listen. I'll give you the reason behind it. The Yuri Prohaska and Roundtree vote, like what everything that happened there. I think that was not a great fight. I think it was a great moment of the fight that Yuri needed to knock him out, so he knocked him out. Like that was awesome. But I don't think the fight was that good. Roundtree was dominating that fight. Yuri needed a knockout. He got it. Cool. I thought Bud dominated the fight over Canelo. I don't think that was a great fight. I think Bud was just a better boxer. I don't think there's any like question to me. Bud went up in weight class, and I just think that it was a great exhibition of how great Bud Crawford is. And then Brandon Royval and Joshua Van, that was two guys playing chess in incredible fashion, taking hit after hit. They're fast. When you watch guys at 135 and 125, and you see them throwing hands the way they do, man, it was just a lot of fun. Royval Van, to me, felt like the best fight. But since we have 3 votes,
Another fan vote.
the next vote registered. As soon as I say registered, that next vote's counting. We have people, look, could be Jory again. She could decide it again. But whoever registers the next vote wins this award.
All right. Well, I guess. Oh, there we go.
Bud Crawford.
All right, Bill. You are up.
Performance of the year. Number 1, Yamamoto's World Series Game 7 relief appearance, which turned into a win. Ohtani NLCS Game 4, pitching, the home runs, the whole shebang. And then obviously Halliburton's Finals Game 1, walk-off, game winner, bang, choke job, which we talked about earlier. I'm gonna go. It's performance. It's performance. So I think the weight of one really kind of keeps it in the conversation here. But as far as performance, it's something we've never seen and we're probably never going to see again. I'm going with Ohtani's NLCS game 4.
How painful is that?
It's painful. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. I don't not give him his flowers. I just think he's a scumbag. Because I think he's a fucking degenerate gambler, and that guy went to jail for him. But 3 for 3, 3 home runs, pitching, all the Ks, winning the game, everything else. Yeah, again, it's one of one. And anytime you can definitely say that, and I will bet good money that none of us will probably ever see anything like that again in our lifetime unless he does it again. I think that's performance of the year for me.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think this is a no-brainer. The easiest award we're giving out all night. If we got Shally to vote for Ohtani, it's a no-brainer. 3 for 3, 3 home runs, a walk, 6 innings, 10 strikeouts. Stop it. This was silly. He won the game by himself. That's never been done in baseball. Ohtani.
I agree. I mean, 3 home runs and 10 strikeouts in the same game is absolutely ridiculous. And I'd argue it's the greatest single, baseball performance in any game in history. So for that, just performances of 2025, absolutely have to give it to Ohtani here. We'll get the clean sweep and give Ohtani performance of the year.
I will say this, and maybe we'll do this in a future show. I think we're a quarter century in. We could do an award show for the last 25 years, maybe in February, maybe in after the Super Bowl. But
that's gonna take some prep.
I think that could, of course. I think that could win performance of the quarter century.
It's a good idea, though.
It is.
Female, I'm so glad I get this. Female Athlete of the Year. Which, by the way, you don't know this. We kind of put these together in the notes. But I put Paige Beckers on this before Cottrell did. I want to make that very clear. Cottrell is the biggest Paige Beckers fan, but Arena Sabalenka, Asia Wilson, I don't know how this isn't Paige Beckers. I'll give my vote first. She's the female athlete of the year. Won the national championship, was the best player, then was the rookie of the year. How do you have a better season? It's Paige Buckets, and it's Paige Buckets going away.
I won't necessarily say going away because let's not forget Asia Wilson did get an MVP award and then also won the WNBA finals there as well. So, I mean, I think that's
Some
pretty.
people think Nafisa Collier should have won the MVP.
I mean, some people would be wrong since Feed got hurt in the end of the year and Asia Wilson led the Aces to win like 18 straight basketball games. But with that said, though, I'm also rolling with Paige. I'm also rolling with Paige Beckers here as well. I think Asia is very deserving. We've given her awards in the past there as well. But as a whole, I mean, 2025 really couldn't have got much better for Paige Buckets there. So I'm rolling with Paige here as well.
I mean, it doesn't matter, but I think Asia. I mean, I think winning the finals and winning another MVP, I think is pretty goddamn impressive. And I'm not even going to attempt to stand up for tennis on this show. Well, I mean, Cottrell be all right. Gene's not going to even hear it. Sabalenka won 2 of the 4 majors, number 1 in the world again. Won a bunch of other tournaments. She had an incredible year as well. I probably would have voted for Asia though.
We got her here though. I mean, we're showing love.
Listen, I'm ecstatic within the first 6 awards. We've had hockey and women's tennis represented. I'm very proud of us.
I'm so glad for what you contributed to the award.
I know. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I totally forgot they were there until you said it today. So the best part about this is I didn't look at them, so these are all fresh to me. So you're getting my gut reaction to all of them.
All right. Is it back to me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you got
athlete of the year.
Yeah, you did. So yeah, male athlete of the year got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP, NBA Finals win. Got Islam Makhachev, who was the lightweight champion, and then moved up to welterweight, became champion. And you also have Shohei Ohtani, who was the MVP of the league of the regular season, then won the World Series following that.
These three are where you go. These 3 are without a shadow of doubt the top 3 male athletes. I know that because I have really tough time deciding who I'm picking.
It is. It definitely is. And obviously I made these up here, and I really didn't even think about who I was picking in the awards. And this is definitely one of the ones where I don't know necessarily where I'm going. But for me, though, I mean, obviously, I think I'm gonna put my own feelings in here. SGA, I think he has a lot of unethical hoops, and I'm with Bill. I think Shohei is a degenerate gambler there as well. And Islam Makhachev is my favorite fighter. So by default here, I'm rolling with Islam for male athlete of the year.
Yeah, I had no idea where you're going there.
I was thinking really going, SGA wasn't going to get a vote, but I was really stuck between Islam and Shohei.
Actually, a good vote. He won the MVP. He won the finals MVP. And he won the final. That's a triple crown.
Unethical hoops in my book. Never a doubt in my.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's not a bad vote.
He deserves to be here. I'm just saying he wouldn't have got my vote. Like we vote for like AP writers get their votes for best teams in the country and things like that. SGA wasn't going to get a vote for me. Might get a vote for everybody else, but not for me.
I like the term unethical hoops. Is it me or you?
It's on you, Bill.
Well, Bill, it's you, but I'm really hoping that you don't steal the energy out of this vote right here.
No, you guys are gonna make me. You're gonna make me do what I don't want to do. You're gonna make me stand up for the head of the Yakuza freaking gambling ring out of Japan again. It is 100% Shohei. I mean, Islam fought twice last year? Did we just talk about the dude doing generational things that nobody's ever seen? And you want me to vote for a guy that fought for 12 minutes last year? Stop it.
Hey, Shohei didn't even win World Series MVP. They could have got better.
Go watch Fast and Furious 3, Yakuza. Shohei was in there. It's him.
Jesus. I got Shohei also. I think it's a no-brainer here.
Same.
Not no-brainer, I'm kidding. But I think that listen, let's call it. They all like that. But I got Shohei here. I think he's the male athlete of the year. Generational stuff. The guy's been incredible. Might be the best baseball player you ever watched in your life.
Probably.
Bill, it's on to you.
Oh, God. Shohei should be in this too. Biggest loser of the year. Nico Harrison, disgrace, former Dallas Mavericks GM, bonehead, just moves of maybe the century. He might make the quarter century show. Nico, transfer from Tennessee to UCLA after pretty much getting called about more money. And then Tua, just because I feel like he probably doesn't know what planet he's on half the time walking around anymore. This is, oh my God. It's got to be Nico.
It's Nico. We got two.
It's Nico Harrison, as much as I think the other one's an idiot. Nico Harrison trading Luka, coming up with different excuses to why and every other thing. And then it pretty much backfiring. I think this one's pretty straightforward.
I'm going to go with Nico Iamaleava.
Yeah.
Why? And I called him Iamaleava for a reason.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
I think that Nico Iamaleava ruined his stock in the NFL draft. He cost himself a lot more money than he thinks he made by going to UCLA, and absolutely took the worst turn in 2025. You want to talk about a guy that looked like a complete moron when Josh Heupel and Tennessee were still relevant all year, a good football team, goes to UCLA, has 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I don't know what the record was. It's probably like 3 and something. They were terrible this year. I think that Nico Iamaleava is the loser of the year.
So this one is tough. But ultimately it came down for me as biggest loser. I think you have two guys who, for all intents and purposes, are still employed, and one guy who is no longer employed. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with Nico Harrison here, because as big of a mistake as I think that Nico, Iamaleava had making that move to UCLA, and is absolutely brain rot as Tua is, and getting benched there in Miami. Both of those guys are still, getting paid by their respective organizations there. Nico Harrison, I don't know if he'll ever have a GM job ever again based on that trade. Maybe he'll get hired again. Maybe he can scout. Maybe he can be a, assistant in the front office, things like that. But I don't know if he'll ever be a GM again after making that trade that he did, Luka for AD, especially with Anthony Davis having all the injuries that he's had just being a Dallas Maverick. So I'm going to go with Nico Harrison here.
If I was Nico, bro, I'm not kidding with you. I would go into any interview and I would say, hey, just to let you know, I had nothing to do with that. That was the Mavs front office. They made me do it. I would 100% throw them under the bus. Because there's no way they make that trade without the front office signing off. No way. But comeback, is it me or no?
Yep.
Yeah, it's me. Comeback player of the year in the year 2025. You have Run CMC, who's running away with it in the NFL for their awards. You have Lindsey Vonn, who's 41 years old, came back and won gold. And then you have Phillip Rivers, who at 49 years old, the guy's like 57, I don't know, came back and played football in the NFL off the couch with like 4 days preparation. I'll go first here. And guys, Christian McCaffrey had a great year, right? He was incredible. I think what he did was worthy of winning comeback player of the year. Philip Rivers on one hand, I'll tell you as nice as I can tell you. It was cute that he came back, but if we're being very honest, I don't think he won a football game, so I can't give him comeback player of the year.
Sounds like Alex Smith.
I'm going to give it to Lindsey Vonn. I think Lindsey Vonn coming back at 41 years old and winning is incredible. So my vote goes to Lindsey Vonn.
Yeah, I mean, Gene, you literally just described Alex Smith there to about Phillip Rivers, except that he just came back from a gruesome injury.
Did Philip Rivers almost lose his leg?
Yeah, no, but you're talking about winning
That's
football
why we
games.
said it then.
You're talking about winning football games, and I'm just saying, every time we do this award, you're not getting away. You're not getting away from my Alex Smith argument.
Bro, the dude's leg looked like with a knee grinder, bro.
He sucked. I'm sorry.
All Philip Rivers had to do was put the beer down and go put a jersey on and go play, dude. You have to go through 3 years of rehab.
Well,
it's not even close to the same thing.
Philip Rivers isn't getting my vote either because he doesn't deserve it. I'm going run CMC, 2,000 all-purpose yards after everybody on this show. Well, me and Gene, I don't know if you were in on it as well, but me and Gene both came here and sat on this show before week 1 and said that Christian McCaffrey was cooked. We said that he has whatever Todd Gurley had, and we weren't going to ever see Christian McCaffrey be elite again. And he went out and had this kind of season and proved both of us wrong. So I'm rolling with Christian McCaffrey here. He looks absolutely incredible this season. Philip Rivers would have never gotten my vote there, but for what it's worth, to win this award for me, you have to have production. I don't care about your story. I care about what you do for me.
My Lord, there's so much to unpack here. I'm not even getting the Alex Smith stuff again. Lindsey Vonn's a great story. I feel like the only problem with Lindsey is it's just kind of starting now. She just came back probably 2 months ago. She has won 2 races already. If you, not in a weird way, if you follow Lindsey Vonn at all, with the surgeries, the crashes, more surgeries, she retired, decided she wanted to come back. I mean, she's been through hell and back, and she's winning again. So it's a cool story. I was the one that both told you that I didn't think C-Mac was done in the beginning of the year. He had another great year, not a career year, but a great year. So it's definitely Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, she won last month.
I think she's won twice. I feel like if we had this conversation 9 months from now after the Olympics and everything, it could be a different story.
She could definitely be back for 2026.
Yeah,
she could be back.
We should have one more, right? Or 2 more?
No, we got a few more. We got, I think, 4 more.
All right, Control, I think you're up.
All right, worst team of the year. You got the New York Jets.
So easy.
You have the Colorado Rockies, and you have the Washington Wizards.
You guys better not screw this up.
For me, I'm rolling with the New York Jets here. They had absolutely awful season. They now have the number 2 pick in a quarterback class where you only have one quarterback coming out. So I think Fernando Mendoza is all but wrapped up the number 1 overall pick, and he's going to the Raiders. Now you're going to be left there with the number 2 pick. Still won't have a quarterback. Still won't have a competitive roster there. They traded away all the talent they had there on that roster. Absolutely rebuilding. It's the Jets, and it's the Jets pretty easy for me.
It's the Jets. It's the Jets. It continues to be the Jets. It's not even just what they do on the field. It's their front office. It's the decisions they make. It's the people they draft. It's the whole shebang. Put the whole thing in a bag. Light it on fire. It's the Jets.
Completely agree with you too. I was ringing the bell. Ding, 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 ding. It's the Jets. Let's move. We're 2.5 hours. Sally.
Best women's team of the year. UConn Huskies winning their 200th NCAA championship. Las Vegas Aces winning 3 or 4. Is that right, Cottrell?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 or 4
total.
or the Texas Longhorns? I like to, I'm going with the Aces.
I'm going with UConn. Their run was more dominant. They dominated through the NCAA tournament. I think the Aces got really hot at the end of the year. When you're talking about a team that needed like a 17-game winning streak to kind of solidify themselves in the playoffs, they were like sitting around not being in the playoffs. Great run. Love the Aces, but I'll go with UConn as the team of the year.
That's what great teams do.
Gene, I'm going to roll with you here on that one as well. I think if the Aces had dominated the entire way, I may feel slightly different. But UConn was a top seed in the tournament. They ran through the tournament, and then they faced South Carolina in their championship and absolutely destroyed them. So I'm rolling with the UConn Huskies here as well.
Love it.
Collusion.
It is. Me and Control decided which ones we were picking before you got on.
It's on you, Gene.
I don't want to do this one. I'll do it. Guys, best team of 2025.
Just pick it. It's the right answer.
Best team in 2025. You have the Philadelphia Eagles, who had the most dominant Super Bowl run through playoff history. Outside, well, since 2000, I'll say that. The 85 49ers have something they'd like to say. Or 85 Bears, 86 49ers have something they'd like to say about that. But the Philadelphia Eagles, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to be Homer. I also think it's the right answer. In 2025, I think the best team is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this award will be a lot more special if they didn't just lose this past weekend. But that's 2026. But I'll go with the Philadelphia Eagles as the best team of 2025.
I mean, I know the Eagles are going to win this award here. I'm going to go with the LA Dodgers, going back to back. And I think, I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling with the Dodgers here. Like I said, I know the Eagles are going to win it, but the Eagles weren't good enough to get the sweep.
They needed Game 7. The Eagles did not need the fourth quarter.
That's incorrect because the Snow Bowl, they absolutely needed the fourth quarter. What are you talking about?
It's a two-horse race. Don't listen to Control. LA Dodgers are automatically eliminated. Their payroll is like $600 million. They're supposed to win. They need a Game 7 to get there. Really shouldn't have won the World Series. Japan Mafia on their team. They're out. OKC Thunder, kind of their crowning moment. I feel like they might win this award the next couple years, though. So the correct answer is the Eagles.
Okay. All right. Best play of the year. Another one that is going to be followed up here with a video just to kind of remind people, give people a fresh look at what these plays were. But I'll go ahead, just go through them real quick here. You got Denzel Clark's catch, A's versus the Angels. You have Omar Cooper's catch back to the end zone at Penn State to seal a win for Indiana. And then you got Miguel Rojas's home run in Game 7 of the World Series to tie it up and ultimately force extra innings. But go ahead and get the video going here.
Nolan Shotwell with a fly ball left center field. Denzel Clark racing back. He's all the way back. He's at the wall. He caught it. He caught it.
Over the wall. Look how far over the wall that is when he brings.
It's out. Touchdown. Wow. A rock play. Unbelievable. Give it up. Oh. Payoff. Drilled to left field and deep and gone. No way.
So, Control, you're first on this one.
For me, I'm rolling with Omar Cooper's catch versus Penn State. Absolutely incredible. Kind of feels like it defied some physics there as well. You got a defender, you jumping up, feet in the air there. You got a defender all over your back and trying to push you out of the end zone there. And you find a way to get not only 1 foot down, but both feet down in that situation with the game on the line. Yeah, I'm rolling with Omar Cooper here.
You or me?
You.
I'm going with Omar Cooper as well. I think Denzel Clark's catch is great. Miguel Rojas hit a hanging breaking ball cock shot. He's not getting any credit for me for that. And Cooper's body control, the levity of it, the importance of the catch, everything, all that for me. So I'm going with Amar Cooper.
I'm with you, Amar Cooper. And that catch, that toe drag swag was incredible.
All right, Bill. I believe this is the last award of the.
I'm going to save
today.
everybody some time here. We're not going to go through this. The answer is the asshole in the middle, Sharon Moore, that guy. That's who wins the award.
You got to introduce it for the people on the podcast version.
No, we don't. They'll know. Unless you've been living under a rock or in a cave, you know what he's done.
No, I'm talking about the other candidates. You got to get the people listening. You got to give them the full breakdown.
Fine. Bone of the year, Luka AD trade, which is terrible, but okay. Emmanuel Clase may or may not have been caught gambling. Major League Baseball says yes. And then you have the Sharon Moore, the shit show in the middle, which I've already referenced, which is the correct answer to this category. We'll be here all night if I go over everything he did. So we'll just leave it at that.
I'm going with Emmanuel. I'm kidding. I honestly want to go with Emmanuel Clase because what he did is so dumb. And like he cost himself so much money over what, $4,000?
Not more than Sharon Moore.
Me. What?
I said not more money than Sharon Moore.
But Sharon Moore is the answer. And I mean, it's the whole thing, man. It was the whole from the beginning to the end, from the cheating to the paying the woman off payroll to the going to her house after. It's just there's so much to do.
Don't forget the butter knife. Yeah, don't forget the butter knife.
Yeah, I mean, this is a clean sweep. Sharon Moore has absolutely earned this award here, and
he's an earner.
I mean, it's kind of crazy because
he was the earner. I'm kidding.
This happened at the end of November, early December, so we really didn't have a strong candidate, and he just came out and he said, "Oh, this is the time. This is the year to get Boner of the Year." So, Sharon Moore, you've earned it. Clean sweep. But that is the full list of awards there.
Guys, we went long today.
We did.
Still have two. You got to be kidding me. So if one of you guys take one of them, I'll be thrilled.
Well, I got one. So Bill doesn't have one, but I got one, and I don't think it's either one of yours.
Two in the chat. They're both great.
You knew both of them.
Okay. All right. So mine this week is I'm going to the gridiron. Mine this week is Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison was arrested on charges of trespassing. Now, why is it Jordan Addison? Of course, getting arrested is no good thing in the NFL. But for Jordan Addison, you've already really been given another second chance. Like I talked about with Rashee Rice a couple weeks ago, Jordan Addison, you're in no position where you should be doing any sorts of crime. You should be a stand-up model citizen because you really don't know how many opportunities you have left. So this charge here was a misdemeanor of trespassing, and ultimately it might not end up being a big thing. And, he may not get in a lot of trouble ultimately from this, but Jordan Addison, small things turn into big things here. And I think you're playing a very dangerous game this early in your career. So this week for me, Jordan Addison.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
He's going to get games over this.
100%. I have two of them this week, and I'll use both. You're not going to use one?
I have one.
Oh, God. My fault. You have one.
If you haven't heard about this guy named Sharon Moore, go ahead, you can go.
I was hoping you were going to actually give one. All right. I have two of them. They're both videos. I think they're both hilarious. I shared them both in the chat this morning, but you guys can all watch them at home. First one is our friend Stephen A. Smith for a very, very, and I like the edit too. I think the edit was hilarious. I'm probably getting in trouble for this one, but oh well, I don't really care.
Saw Charlie Kirk catch 8 receptions for 143.
Looking downfield, he's got Kirk.
Wide open, spinning catch. And a diving grab. First down, and there he is again. What a night for Craig.
Charlie Kirk.
I'm so glad I didn't watch that until right now.
Why? You didn't like that one?
No, it's hilarious and so dark and wrong at the same time.
Hold on, I got one more.
Wait, hold on. We got to give that one it's proper.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
My second one, I think, is extremely. I think this is just. I'll explain it a little bit more afterwards. Let me show you the video. I don't think Shally's seen this one either. I think it's.
I didn't watch either one of them.
This is Cam Newton on a podcast with Lady London.
Style in one word. That's an adjective.
Can I use a word that I've already used?
Sure, of course.
Eclectic.
Say it again.
Eclectic.
It's eclectic.
Well, the heavy on the N because
There's no N in it.
No. It's my word.
Oh, let's unpack this. Okay, got it. Sure word.
Eclectic.
Spell it for me.
NCLECTA.
Okay.
Eclectic.
Eclectic.
Do you want to know what the N stands for?
Niggatry.
Oh my god.
Am I right?
I'm gonna stop the video there. Bro, you can't just be wrong. You can't just be wrong. Like, you said the word wrong and then you rolled with it and doubled down on it. You're a moron. I can't listen to Cam Newton. I can't take him seriously. I can't stand him. Eclectic. It's a very easy word to understand. And it's not an adjective to describe yourself, you moron. I can't do this. So for me this week, it's both of them.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Stephen A. Smith for the goof and Cam Newton for being a moron.
I can't unsee the Charlie Kirk thing.
Jordy's got the spelling correct there.
It's just funny.
He didn't spell it, and then he didn't spell it right either, which is even more funny. He's an idiot.
Like, if he would have spelled it with the N and put the IC at the end, like he was trying, like, oh no, it's a different version of the word eclectic. It just begins with N for whatever. I don't know, but when he ended it with the A, like, come on, man. It's like a moron. Guys, it's 2 hours, 43 minutes. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate all you guys checking us out. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for everybody this year for the awards. I appreciate you listening to us. If you listen to us for a full 2 hours and 44 minutes, which it looks like a lot of you have, so I appreciate that. We love you. Cottrell, any final thoughts, comments?
No, I mean, I know we went long today, but I mean, I think it's definitely a testament to how good this show kind of always is, that, you know, we still have this many people locked into us, 2 hours and 45 minutes on a Wednesday. So definitely appreciate you guys, and always one of my favorite shows of the year. And, I'm looking forward to, going through 2026 here, figuring out who's going to be our boner of the year for next year.
Shally, any final thoughts?
No, I think it's our longest show ever.
Probably. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL Genius Gene Walzak. That's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own Cottrell, Uncle Shally, Scholastic Shally, Mr. William Shawcross. And we are signing out.